chasing their past glory and wanting to put up a triple-double on a Friday pickup game.
And they try to. And a lot of times they do, but then they get injured, and then they're out for like a month.
Well, you got Doc Helm there that can help, and he can cure if there is any issues that pop up. Like he saved, I think I told you that story, he saved a young person's life at a golf, at one of those golf spots.
The hero
he went
we didn't
in
know
and
we
fixed,
needed.
He did, and of course he make sure everybody knew that he was a doctor like he always does, I'm sure, with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, my kids call him Mr. Kelm, and he always corrects him. No,
Yes.
I'm Dr. Kelm, all right?
Of course he is.
Let's get this clear.
He's not going to let anybody. He worked hard for that doctorate. All right, so we got a lot of stuff to hit on. I think it's the best weekend of the NFL season. You have divisional games. You have a lot of matchups that have already been played. You got the chess game going back and forth. So we'll get into that. But since the bagel, are you considered a bagel guy? Like, what is your breakfast choice now if you're picking? You're not going to go donut like I do. Jesse used to, but look at how svelte Jesse is now with Madison weight loss.
I was going to say.
Sprinkle one in occasionally.
So is it always bagel? Is that going to be your breakfast go-to?
Yeah, so I'm not a breakfast guy. However, the great thing about lifting some weights and, you know, throwing the prison weights around in the morning is you got to feed those muscles after you grind the way we do. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whenever I get a chance, I'm going right to Gotham Bagels like I did this morning. Unfortunately, Tausch, you had to sleep in. You had to get your beauty rest.
A lot of sleep.
Because you do have a lot of close-ups here, and
Pablo,
you want to look just as good as you did when you were 20 here.
I come in here at least once, maybe twice a week, and I never have Pablo in here. He doesn't come in here when I'm in here. He doesn't have a camera set up.
Well, you just set it up, though. It's the biggest weekend of the year, and that's why he's in here.
Because you're football royalty, man. And that's what it is. You are football royalty, and that's...
he's got a gold jacket.
This is the treatment that you get. I would be remiss, I think yesterday, obviously, the news of Bob Uecker and him passing away. Any core memories from you? Because it really resonated. Obviously, we grew up in Wisconsin, listening to him on WTMJ and on the Brewers radio network. All those great memories with, for me, it was on the farm. Any memories from you, and as far as kind of how important to the fabric of the state of Wisconsin Bob Uecker has been?
Yeah, I think for Bob, he just perfectly encapsulated what, our vision of the perfect Wisconsin person is, right? He's humble. He's self-deprecating. He's funny. He was a little good at sports, right? He was an okay baseball player, but he just lived life to the fullest. He gave everything he had to this city in Milwaukee and to the state and to the Brewers franchise, but really all sports fans, because I grew up a Brewers fan. The very first sporting event I ever went to in my life was with my dad at Old County Stadium, and I remember, I think I was 4 or 5 years old, went with him and then his work buddy and his son, and both of the kids ate so much cotton candy that we threw up all over our dad's white dress shirts because they came right from work on the way out. But it's the way that I think you're introduced to sports a lot of times is through baseball, because it's the easiest, most accessible to families. And then as soon as you go to a game, you get interested, you start listening to it on the radio, and that voice that you heard was Bob Uecker. And he was everything that you could ever dream of to be the perfect voice of your team, especially when your team is the Milwaukee Brewers. And I would say the thing that stuck out in my brain first when I heard that he'd passed is when I was playing in the NFL, I'd always come home because you'd have that 4 weeks off in the summer, between the end of mandatory mini camp and training camp. And I would always come back to Wisconsin, go up north and do some fishing. And my favorite thing to do, the most relaxing thing that got me completely away from the grind of the football season, was to turn on baseball and listen to Bob Uecker as I was bluegill fishing off the pontoon.
And a big part of that is because it's a little nostalgic, too. It takes you back to the day where you're puking cotton candy up on your dad and your buddies.
It humbles you. Yeah, that's right. It centers you. It brings you back to your childhood. And I've always told people, the biggest time in your life that you're a sports fan is when you're a kid. And then as an adult, we're still fans, but we're just chasing the feelings that we had that those teams gave us when we were kids. And so listening to Bob, who was a guy that I listened to when I was a kid and then listened to through adulthood, it brought back that nostalgia and those feels and those emotions that you had when you were a kid.
And that, I think, is why it resonated. And the fact so many different generations. I mean, he has been there since 71, which is in essence the entire time that the Brewers did. It was a sad day, but it was also what a life that he lived. And it was really moving to me yesterday for the callers that we had that called in for the last 2 hours of our show and how much he meant. A lot of times you just don't know how much of an impact you have on people until you find out later, and that obviously is Bob Uecker. So, all right. Great little story there, Joe. We are going to get into some football. I also want to get into, I don't know what this is on here, Jesse. Evan Cohen is the reason Joe Thomas hooked us up when we got set up. Is that what I'm understanding? I'll have to get more info from Jesse. I don't know what that story is. I'm not doubting it, but what I'm definitely doubting if you don't have new Pella windows and doors in your house. Happy New Year means a lot of rough days ahead for those who suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Plenty of gray, frigid days. Finally got a decent day out there. I think it's going to get freezing again tomorrow. And you want to be snugly and warm in your home. Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. But hurry up. You only have until January 31st, so visit PellaWI.com today to learn more. Certain restrictions do apply. We will hit on if Evan took credit for a reservation that he actually didn't book, and he gave LePay and I a ton of grief about. If it was actually Joe, Joe is the man. You need a reservation. We'll get you Joe's info. He will get you that. We'll talk about that, and then all of the great football that is coming up. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut, which you know I've loved going way back to when I was a kid participating in the legendary Book It program. And now here's a question. Do you get pizza or do you like wings? Well, at Pizza Hut, there's only one right answer. Both. Introducing Pizza Hut's original stuffed crust and wings bundle. Large one-topping stuffed crust pizza and 16 boneless wings with 2 dips, and it's all for just $19.99. Pizza Hut is home to the original stuffed crust pizza, topped and stuffed with over a half pound of delicious, melty cheese, and Pizza Hut's boneless wings. They are kitchen-fried and not oven-dried, sauced and tossed to perfection, and delivered hot directly to you. Pizza and wings or wings and pizza? The best deals have both. The unbeatable value of the stuffed crust and wings bundle is perfect to feed the whole crew on game day, family night, or any gathering. Order on the app or order online at pizzahut.com. The stuffed crust and wings bundle, only at Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Spins up with the right hand. It's good. Count it and a foul.
The hoop and the harm.
Goes in. Oh! Puts it in with 2 seconds to go. What a play. Dribbling, crossing over, fade away. Yes, that was nasty.
Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania on 100.5 ESPN and streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Monday nights this football season, huddle up for the Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia.
I go to the Ohio State fans. They are so ridiculous. It's not even fair to acknowledge them because they are ridiculous. For some reason, they think they invented football in Ohio. That's why I used to love to kick their ass.
The Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia. Mondays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We're on the Packers.
The Green Bay Packers simply couldn't beat the elite talent in the NFC.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
They were good. They were not good enough.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you.
All right, welcome back in, Wilde and Tausch. Morning, Pablo. Joe Thomas with us. We're super excited, the Hall of Famer. Anything really change in your life since you got that goal? It's been a couple years now. Anything really change other than maybe your appearance fees bump up a little bit, the signature's worth a little bit more? Anything else that kind of changed your life?
Kind of a big deal when that's what your job is, for the most part, is signing autographs and walking around and being Joe Thomas. Like, they're going to pay me more for that? Like, that's a pretty good deal.
Being Joe Thomas. What is being Joe Thomas? Tell us. So now you were over in Europe, and last time we caught up, we could have listened to you tell stories all day. But you were over in Germany. You kind of found out that coaching probably not going to be something you're going to do on a consistent basis till your kids get older. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Just too much time?
Yeah, you know how it is. Like, if you coach, that's great, but that's all you do because you don't have time for anything else. I mean, you're working 80 hours a week pretty much year-round if you're coaching college or the NFL.
Yeah, and that's where we talked yesterday before the Bob Uecker news broke. You do a bunch of media stuff. Orlovsky does a bunch of media stuff. It's just a much better life, but it's not probably as fulfilling. I don't know exactly. When you look at what Orlovsky was talking about, he's thinking about quarterback coach or getting into that. And I don't know how many former players you have to be all in. There is no, well, I'll show up here, but my kids' stuff, it's always going to be at the top of mind if you're going to get into coaching. You did that, but you also were able to travel and make it a family affair for the most part when you were over in Germany.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go to Germany and coach in the ELF because these guys are getting paid peanuts. Like, legitimately, half of our offensive line was making 50 euros per week, which 50 euros is about $60. So that was their paycheck. So these guys obviously were working regular jobs. They loved the game, or they were in school. And so you had time during the day to be a human being, right? Be a dad, be a husband, go and enjoy the city you were in. But you're still coaching professionals. And so that was what was really attractive to me.
So then you go back and you did a couple of games. You worked with Kevin Harlan. I saw you were up at that New Orleans game. Boy, New Orleans is bad, huh?
They were bad. You know, they were bad before they got injured, and then they lost all of their playmakers. Alvin Kamara was out. Derek Carr was out. Their star receiver was out. I mean, they were decimated, so they couldn't do anything. And the Packers were rolling before the Packers got injured. Yeah. So it was just not a good matchup for New Orleans.
So you did that, but you hosted. So you were over in Germany when the NFL did the German game. Who was in that game? Jacksonville?
Yeah, so the NFL Germany game, I can't remember that one. I can't remember who was playing in that game because I did.
You hosted.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was. It was me and Colin Wolf from NFL Network. Yeah, they're good. So the host gig is like the guy on the sideline that's giving away the tickets to the Super Bowl and presented by Visa. Thank you for being a fan. And then you also give little hits during the game for the people that are in the suites and people that are in the audience that are, too busy eating pretzels and drinking giant beers to pay attention to what's going on. So it's the same thing I'm going to be doing at the Super Bowl this year.
Well, what are you doing at the Super Bowl?
I'm hosting the Super Bowl. Yeah, I would love for you to come.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
Tickets are down
in Nolens.
Nolens, yeah. Great city.
What does that mean that you're hosting
that
the
is
Super
a good
Bowl?
question.
Like, what
does that entail?
Same exact thing. Like, we'll be there doing the in-game, in-house hits, highlights.
In German? Or
I mean, I guess I could do it in German if they ask for it.
You definitely are a lederhosen. You're a lederhosen. You and Annie would, and you're carrying those big steins around.
Yeah.
I could see you. I could see you doing that, eating it up.
Yeah, but I think the people in New Orleans would be a little confused why I'm wearing lederhosen in New Orleans.
Doing it with like a New Orleans.
I don't know if you've been
German
to New Orleans. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's no off limits in New Orleans.
That's true. The weirder the better, and I'm cool with that. So maybe we should go with that. So yeah, I'll be at the Super Bowl, and Tasha said he's going to be joining me.
in.
So we're going to be hosting.
There's nothing better. So have you done Oktoberfest?
I did this year twice.
Oh,
it was
how good is
amazing. It was wonderful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like, not only was it fun just getting completely snot knockered,
Sure.
but when you were there, it's much more of a carnival than you realize, because as soon as you go outside of the big beer tents, they have carnival rides and food, and it's family oriented. It's oriented towards old people. Like, no matter who you are, you can find something that you really enjoy. Like, when you walk in, you see kids in strollers getting pushed around. You see old 80-year-old men falling down. They're so drunk. Like, you get every little walk of
like heaven.
the earth. There's like 10 million people that go to that thing every year. College kids. Like, it's really cool. So it's really a collection of not just Germans, because it's from the world. Everybody's going there, and it's cool seeing like a big slice of the world all represented in one spot.
What do you? What's the thing? You obviously love America, and I'm not. But what is the thing that you're like?
USA, USA.
I wish we had this. That when you were over there, is it the bread? What would be the thing that you're like? This is what we need back here.
Yeah, so I would say their coffee shops, not like the Amsterdam coffee shops.
I was going to say, I've been to those coffee shops.
Although
Yeah,
cannabis
Jesse.
did get legalized in Germany, but no, coffee shops in the morning, because every street corner has a great place to be able to stop and get some good bread. They have amazing bread over there. Like, I know everybody knows the French for their bread and stuff, not just French bread.
There's not like a ton of gluten issues over there either.
They don't have as much, and I don't know how much that is like just overblown because of our perception. When you're traveling, you're having a great time and you're feeling good and you're exercising a little bit more than you used to. You're walking around the city, but definitely the ingredients they use is probably a little bit better, and they take a lot more care and pride in the bread that they bake. But not only can you get really good breads at the breakfast coffee shops, but you get a great espresso. And like, I really enjoy that like coffee shop culture that they have over there.
Oh, the coffee shop culture. All right.
Yeah.
So before we get into this week's games, you did the Packers-Saints game. We talk about the Packers constantly. What did you see? Obviously, they played the Saints and they stunk. But
Yes.
just in general, as you watched the rest of their season unfold, what did you see?
Well, what I saw was a collection of really, really good young players with a good young quarterback that at the time was playing really good football. They had found their identity behind Josh Jacobs running the football. Matt LaFleur, I think, has proven himself as a wonderful offensive mind, being able to shift in motion and get matchup advantages and take advantage of little holes in the defense, and given Jordan Love a lot of really easy completions. They have two fantastic tight ends that can block, they can catch. Like, they had things going, but then all of a sudden after that game, the injury bug really started hitting them. And I think pushing the ball forward for next year, they need to really consider about finding a legit receiver number one, because I like all their guys, and Christian Watson's a great sometimes down the field threat, but he's just not that guy you have to worry about every single time. And he's had quite a few injuries throughout his career.
There's no doubt about that. I still am bullish. He's got to obviously recover from the ACL. But this is what, and I don't know how many years, it's been 6 years since Matt LaFleur got hired. You called that.
I did.
You called
we
it
were
before.
On, I think.
No, you called it before anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved what he's done, but I thought he had a tough year. And
Really?
what I mean by that is, yes, because he did a good job of kind of bringing Josh Jacobs in. Josh Jacobs is not a outside zone guy. That is what the Shanahan and all the guys, the reason that you love LaFleur is because you get all these free plays, the bootlegs, the wide open stuff. And you know how many play action passes they threw in the last game against the Eagles?
How many? Tell me.
3. How many from under center? 1. What can you tell me? You have this system. You always want to play to your players' strengths, but nothing under center, all gun, because Jacobs likes that duo where you're comboing up and out of the gun more than he does the wide zone. If you're advising Matt LaFleur, we've seen the success. Stefanski does. All the guys that have had a lot of success. It does matter. It is don't you think it's a heck of a lot easier you're a great offensive lineman when you can run it under center and do that? It just matters a lot more. How do you balance that if you're Matt LaFleur? Because he had a hard time figuring out that recipe.
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, that's maybe two parts, but in the playoff game against the Eagles, to me it looked like LaFleur's game plan was like to protect Jordan Love. And I don't know if you saw that, because I know he had the injury coming into the game, and they were a little bit wishy-washy about how healthy he would be, how he could throw the ball. You know, even Jordan Love that week was like, I'm fine. Like, don't ask me about it. Like, I'll be fine. And it seemed like with the game plan, they didn't allow him to just open it up and threaten the teams down the field with any of those play actions, any of those shot plays. And I don't know if it was because Jordan Love wasn't fully healthy, wasn't able to throw a lot of that stuff, or if they were just worried that, hey, he's a young guy. He seems like the moment's big for him already. Let's not put too much on his plate. Let's just try to bang the ball inside and hope to try to keep it close and shorten the game. But I think during the season, just because you're not running outside zone doesn't mean you don't have good play action options off of the duo stuff. It's, of course, not as good, but it's how you teach it, right? It's how you teach your offensive linemen where, hey, the sell of the run is more important than the protection. Obviously, we want to protect the quarterback, but don't give me the excuse when we roll the tape on Monday, oh, I thought this guy was coming, so I didn't sell the run. Like, you need to sell the run, and if you're selling the run, the protection takes care of itself. And so I think it's how it's coached, but also, like, Stefanski's been very successful with the pin pull stuff outside zone, not only outside zone, but the pin pull, where it's down blocks and pulls, which is something that Josh Jacobs does really well.
Yep.
And it marries very well to the inside zone and the power and the duo stuff. And I think it's just a matter of coaching the detail and getting comfortable with your offensive line and letting them realize how much I can sell this before I have to come off on this linebacker that's coming downhill, and I have to make sure I've got him protected for my quarterback.
But it is a lot easier to sell when you're under center.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Not gun. And I feel like, and this is where I don't know, it wasn't the knee. The knee was early in the season. Obviously, it was an elbow that happened in the Bears game. I don't fully – Josh Jacobs likes running out of the gun. And it's not as easy to get those big chunk plays when you're out of the gun, because if you're a linebacker, I don't care how much you keep selling play action out of gun. I'm going to sit there. You have to prove it. Whereas if you're under center, you come filling downhill, and all of a sudden there's a lot of vacant space, and that's the part. I don't know if he has his system, and that system is very successful. We've seen it with all these coaches we just mentioned. And this year, because Josh Jacobs likes things a certain way, he was a dog. He had a great season, physical, everything you would have possibly hoped for out of a running back. Trying to figure out, he likes being out of gun. LaFleur likes being able to run that play action. What advice would you tell him when you're saying, let's marry this up? But is it just, all right, you have to go with more duo and really sell out of the gun? Or would you say, I want to see Josh Jacobs do more of the under center stuff, and just we figure out how to get him feeling more comfortable with that?
It's unusual that he doesn't like running under center as much as he does out of the gun, because most running backs
want to get a little speed going.
They want a little bit more speed,
Yep.
because you're a little further away from the line of scrimmage. You're right behind the center. So now the linebackers that are trying to fill their gaps have to be about 1.5 yards ahead of where they normally would be if you were offset, because you're behind the center and you've got a chance to run around him. So they got to run a little bit harder to be able to get to their gaps to keep their leverage on you as a running back. And so I think the happy medium between the two is the pistol, is running those plays out of the pistol. And
the pistol, just for people, it's a couple yards closer than what a gun is.
Yeah, so the quarterback's in the shotgun, but a little bit closer,
Yep.
and then the running back's behind him. And the
That's
reason
for
why
Jesse.
it works a
He
lot
has
better.
no idea. You're
Yeah.
talking
Appreciate
pistols.
that.
He's
Thank
thinking,
you.
Lord, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. He's a big, firearms enthusiast over there, so he's very confused. I can
You know
understand
me
that.
so well, Joe.
But yeah, exactly. But the pistol, what that gives you is it still gives you all of your normal under center stuff, but it also gives you the benefit of the quarterback still being in shotgun and being able to see everything if he is just drop back passing. He's not taking the ball from under center. And when you're offset as a running back, a defensive lineman or a linebacker that's smart, he's going down his checklist pre-snap and knowing what are the possible plays that they can run from here, what are the concepts, and you can cross about half of them off as soon as you're offset, because there's only so many things you can do when you're offset. Like, it's inside zone, it's duo, or you can pitch it to them. Like, I think the Los Angeles Rams and Kyle Shanahan and San Francisco have done some creative things out of the gun.
It's got to be sellable to the D.
But it has to be sellable. You have to make it look like some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it just looks like the same easy run or RPO concept that you always get when the halfback's offset and the quarterback's in shotgun.
And that was what I loved, and what Matt LaFleur continued to push is you have to marry up that outside zone with the boot and all the other stuff. And it does put a ton of pressure. If you're not doing that stuff, nobody's going to buy it. And if you don't buy it, linebackers stay at their depth. That stuff is not open. I definitely want to delve more into that because that's been something that I've questioned a bunch. It was definitely a part of why this passing game struggled as the season unfolded. We were talking beers, German. You know where it comes with me. It's Coors Light brewed with that 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and it is cold packaged, so it is made to chill. Born in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado in 1978, Coors Light is refreshing. It is crisp. It is only 102 calories. That's why it is always Coors Light in my hand when I need a moment to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Well, I believe this is the best weekend of football in the NFL coming up. Divisional, you got games on Saturday. You got games on Sunday. Can this team pull this off? Can't wait to break that down. We're going to do that next with Joe Thomas here on Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
For me, the next year, this upcoming year,
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
it's when I'm judging Jordan Love on a lot of things.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Tracks.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV.
Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school. Yay! It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're grabbing fresh coffee, a bakery treat, or a quick meal, Quick Trip is your go-to for quality and fast service. From clean restrooms to fresh groceries, easy meal options, and guaranteed fuel, we make your day easier. Plus, enjoy perks like free ATMs, free air for your tires, and sweet rewards with the Quick Rewards program. Everything you need in one stop, and always a friendly, see you next time, Quick Trip, where your day gets easier and better.
Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
This is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. I'm reaching out with a message that's close to my heart. Devastating fires have ravaged the Los Angeles area, leaving families displaced, homes destroyed, and the community in need of help. Right now, you have the power to make a real difference. Your donation, big or small, can provide food, shelter, supplies, and much-needed support for those affected by the fires. If you are able to, please help those affected by the California wildfires and donate at www.lafoodbank.org/fire.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
We're on the Packers.
Did we crown Jordan Love as the next Hall of Fame quarterback early?
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
That is a fair question to ask.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Welcome back into Wilde and Tausch. No Jason today. I think he's going to join us Lord knows what time. Whenever he wants. He'll call in and we'll take him.
Sounds like 11:15
okay,
for you,
great.
by the way.
11:15 will be. That's the old headlines era when the Packers were still playing. Their season ended last weekend. A lot of question marks. We were able to talk with Brian Gutekunst, the media was, and there's I thought some really interesting quotes that I'm sure my great producer Jesse Nelson will have queued up for us later, but Joe, I don't know about you when you're playing this part of the season, if your season was over, this was the time you wanted to tune in and catch games because it's Saturday, it's Sunday, and all intriguing matchups. Let's jump into these a little bit. When you have the games, I know you're running around with kids too, what is the game that you have to watch on this weekend slate?
I feel like it's the same game for everybody, right? Isn't it Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson? It's the Bills and the Ravens, right? Because those are the two guys that have been in the MVP conversation the entire season. It's kind of gone back and forth a little bit, and lately it seems like Lamar Jackson's got the edge right now out of those two guys. But I think there's so much at stake for both of these quarterbacks, being that haven't been able to get over that Patrick Mahomes hurdle and be able to get to the Super Bowl.
Not many people have.
Not many people have, if your name's not Joe Burrow. But I think to be able to have a legacy that these guys want as a quarterback, got to win the Super Bowl.
Is that fair?
I think it's fair because even though we don't want to make wins a quarterback stat, in the end, you have the most influence over the win and loss, even more than the coach when you're the quarterback. And we know that these games typically are close, and they come down to a 2-minute drive at the end of the half and then at the end of the game, and the ball's in your hands, and you got to make something happen. And that's how we separate the guys that just had great stats from the guys that are legendary.
Who would you have rather blocked for? Lamar or Josh?
Johnny Manziel, actually. So
yeah, I thought it would be Tim Couch or trying to go through Josh McCown.
He's got plenty to choose from. Yeah, McCown doing a great job in Minnesota now.
The reason I ask is because, to me, I always wanted somebody I knew where they were going to be, and I knew when the ball was going to come out.
Yeah.
That's what you want as an O-lineman.
Manning, right.
But when you have Lamar Jackson, it's like, okay, it's going to make things easier because guys can't rush the same way they would rush with a pocket guy. So they're actually Lamar obviously is more elusive out of the pocket, but Josh Allen's no joke either. He gets out there. You'd have taken both, but if you're blocking, which one?
Probably Lamar Jackson, because I think no matter what the guy does across from me, he's going to be wrong. Like if I lose slow or if I lose fast, Lamar Jackson's going to make him miss. And as long as there's not 2 or 3 guys in his face, like in the end, it's going to be a positive play, and I'm going to come to the sideline. Coach is going to put his arm around me and go, "Hey, Joe, you screwed that one up, but it's all right. We got a first down," right? It's kind of like the guy in basketball, like when Tauscher was playing hoops at Auburndale. Yeah. He shoots that wild 3 that he shouldn't have, but it goes in. So he's like,
no.
Yes! Hey, great shot. And then he come to the sideline. He's like, all right, don't do that again.
Yeah, that happened a lot. That happened many times. So you're looking at Lamar Jackson is one of one. Mm-hmm. Is there? And I know Michael Vick kind of set the tone, but have you seen he has played the position about as good as you could ask? if you're looking at how to threaten a defense, and now he's added throwing the football into at a really high level, threw for over 4,000 yards. What are you doing if you're a D-line coach? I know the Packers just let go of their D-line coach. I don't believe I saw rumors you were going to be the Browns O-line coach. I thought that was crazy because knowing that you don't really want to get into coaching because of the time. But if you were coaching D-linemen, what are you telling them how to rush a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen this weekend?
First of all, everything's for sale, Tauscher. It's just the price that we need to determine.
Okay.
So I told the Browns, I said, the price that you'd have to pay me to be the offensive line coach is not a good value for you guys. Trust me, you're not going to get
But
that
let's be
level
honest,
of
the Browns don't
work
really care about
and
value. They
performance.
paid Deshaun Watson $275 million. So I'm guessing you'd be a great value if you compare it.
Perspective is everything in life. So maybe you can be my agent. We can go back to the Browns. Hey,
D-Watt.
I'll take $100 million to be your O-line coach. It's a bargain compared to what you're paying Watson.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're not going to break down the Browns today. But so what would you tell these D linemen if you're saying, because you have to, and this is where I think it's always interesting to watch how the Packers approach this, where Jalen Hurts last week, do you go and force him to get rid of the ball early and get him uncomfortable, or do you keep him corralled in and force him to be a pocket passer? Those same questions, obviously Lamar Jackson has another gear that Jalen Hurts doesn't. I am always going to say, get after him, get him uncomfortable, and then hopefully you have somebody that can track and not let him go on those long runs.
Yeah, so the traditional line of thinking when you've got a quarterback like that likes to scramble is all the pass rushers are basically closing the net slowly. You're trying to bull rush. You're trying to slowly close that net around the pocket.
Keeping that outside arm
That's
open.
right.
Yep.
You're keeping your outside arm free. You're trying to bull rush your offensive lineman, and you're trying to take away the space that he has to operate in the pocket. So if he does decide to leave the pocket, he's got to back up and now run out the pocket, and you've got your outside arm free so you can make a play, right? They don't want you to go beat your guy quick, right? Because that's almost the worst thing that can happen is like, whoop, quick swim move to the inside. All of a sudden, you're running straight at Lamar Jackson. You got no chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you do. He is standing still and waiting to see what you're doing, and he's going to do the opposite. And so it's a bad deal to do it like that. However, I don't really like doing that because then you just let him pick you apart the whole game, right? Which is what he's done all season long. And so actually what I would do if I was coaching these guys up, I would definitely play zone coverage behind, right? Because you got to have eyes. You got to have eyes on the quarterback when they get outside the pocket, because the most dangerous thing about a quarterback run is if you're playing man coverage, everybody in the second and third level has their back turned running with a man, and now they've got 50 yards of open field and nobody's even seeing that they're running. So what I would do is I'd play zone coverage behind, and I would run a TE to the quarterback's weak arm, so left, right? So imagine, Lamar Jackson, right-handed quarterback. So over the left guard, left tackle, you run a TE, right? So you're opening up the escape for him to his left, which is his non-throwing arm. The guy over the right guard is bull rushing, right, to try to close that space. And then the end on the right, over the right tackle, is running upfield, keeping his outside arm free, right? So you're trying to make it not as enticing for him to run to his right and very enticing for him to run quick to his left.
Okay.
You've got one spy on the second level, who's your linebacker, who now can run into the flat, who's got to be your fastest linebacker, to be able to at least put pressure on Lamar if he does try to run. And then once Lamar breaks and gets out of the pocket to his left, the linebacker that's spying him needs to run to his near shoulder, right? Because that doesn't allow him to cut back. All he can do is continue to extend the play towards the sideline, right? Which is what you want, because as soon as he cuts back, now he can make that throw. If he's running hard to his left, it's almost impossible for him to turn and make that throw. Now, of course, he can make an easy short throw down the sideline to his left, but it's going to be really hard for him to hit the middle of the field or go back to the outside. So you're banking on the fact that he's not going to just break contain to his left and then continue to run down the left sideline over and over again, because now you're playing zone coverage. So if you're playing like a cover two, you've got a cornerback that's in that flat that can make the tackle, that's got speed to be able to keep up with him. If you're playing some other variations, maybe it's one of your safeties who's your fast safety. And I think that's probably the best general way. Obviously, if you sit in anything for more than a few snaps, you're toast. But that's generally, I think, the best way to attack.
And then you got Derrick Henry and you got everything else. Who do you like in that one?
I actually like the Bills.
You like the Bills? I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are too There's just too many. I don't like Buffalo's defense. Now, I know they're at home and they'll be able to do that. I hope Buffalo wins. I like Josh Allen, but I think Baltimore is going to be too tough. All right, Kansas City Texans, nut whack. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. The Texans, they're a cute little deal. I watched them play Green Bay. Their offensive line stinks. Like, they really struggled. Our D-line had a field day, and our D-line coach just got fired because we didn't get enough pressure. Their defense now is good, and Kansas City's O-line struggled. They had a hard time figuring out left tackle. Their right tackle is one of the most penalized guys in the league, so I think it'll be a little tighter. But can you go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at Arrowhead?
No way. And like you mentioned, the Houston Texans offensive line, very poor.
Yes.
Chris Jones is the best defensive lineman in the NFL right now. The only guy that's been better than him during his career was Aaron Donald, which he might be one of the greatest football players of all time. So that is going to be a major problem in the middle of that defense. He's going to be able to put consistent pressure on C.J. Stroud up the middle, making him uncomfortable, making him leave his spot, which he's also a problem running the football too. He's got a little Lamar Jackson in him. But I think over and over again, that consistent pressure, he might make a couple nice plays, but he's going to give you a chance to pick off a few passes. There's going to be some opportunities for some mistakes. And if you give this Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes an extra possession, lights out. Game over.
All right, we're going to hit the Commanders-Lions later because I want to get into some thoughts that Jesse had about cheering for the Lions. It'd be like you cheering for the Steelers and wanting them to win the championship. All right, Rams-Eagles. This one, to me, is the one I feel best about. And I know I'm not going to tell you how to bet or how to gamble because that's not what we do here. But I think Stafford in the cold, it's going to be a little mucky out. I like the Eagles in a pretty good way this week. I think they played like crap on offense. Part of it was Green Bay's defense did a good job, but they were a little rusty. I like Philly big in this one. Where are you at?
So why did the Rams beat the Vikings?
Great pressure on Sam Darnold.
Which is something they won't be able to do against the Eagles because the Eagles have the second best offensive line in the NFL. And I'm a little biased. Our guy Hank Fraley's the offensive line coach for the Lions. I think they're the best offensive line in the NFL. Zeitler, Wisconsin boys out there.
Zeitler being out is going to hurt them, but yep.
But I think with the Eagles' offensive line and their two tackles who are all pros, they're not going to get abused and bull rushed the way they did last weekend. And so they're not going to be able to get that pressure, make the other team's quarterback uncomfortable, get all those turnovers that they were able to get last weekend against the Vikings. And so when you don't have that in a playoff game, it becomes much more of a matchup of who's got the better players. And the Eagles have the best roster in the entire NFL. So I think this is one that I feel pretty confident about as well.
Oh, Jesse, how do you feel on this one? Because we have consensus. We've differed a little bit on, well, everybody's going to go Chiefs. Where are you at on this one?
Okay, so if I'm just looking at all four games,
we're not asking for four. We're just asking for the one.
Which one?
Philly.
I like the Rams.
You do? Why?
I think the Rams are sneaky this year. The Rams are a team that's been under the. There's always one team that goes on a nice run in the playoffs. That's oftentimes a division champion that just is kind of overlooked going into it. And the Rams, I think a lot of people were hot on the Vikings going into that game last week with the Fires moving it to Arizona. Sure. The Rams were rattled with other stuff going on. They play good defense. McVay's an excellent coach. And they have the offensive weapons that they didn't have healthy at the start of the year. And when you look at what they did at the end of the season, they've been so good. So if you trust the coaching of McVay more than Sirianni,
I do.
I like the Rams going on there. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball.
How do you like Matthew Stafford in cold weather, though?
I don't.
He's 1-9.
But I also don't trust Jalen Hurts yet. And maybe I'm one of the last on that island. But I don't see greatness from him the way I think others do. I see Jalen Hurts as more Tua than Mahomes. I think there's more room for improvement still for him to go.
Is he left-handed?
No.
Jalen Hurts is left-handed.
That's your takeaway
that's a new one. I did not know that. I learned something new today.
Let me tell you something. If Jalen Hurts plays left-handed, I totally agree with you.
I am not saying that he looks like Tua because he's left-handed.
I thought you literally just said that.
Not winning a bunch of big games in his career.
Did he not go to a Super Bowl and outplay Mahomes in a Super Bowl?
He went to a Super Bowl.
Didn't he outplay Mahomes too? I'm just curious.
I don't think he outplayed Mahomes in that game. I mean, the turf outplayed everybody in that game.
Oh, burn.
Yeah. Again, like, I was late to the party on Lamar Jackson. I might be late to the party on Jalen Hurts, but I don't like. Even last week against the Packers, did you see Jalen Hurts like
he did not play
us
well.
up? You're like, wow, he's great. Like, I don't see him being a big game quarterback.
Okay.
So I like Stafford in that situation, even though it's outdoors in the cold.
All right. Well, that's the beauty of this. We'll find that out. We're going to hit on the Lions Commanders later, and I really want to hear Joe's opinion on Jesse's take on rooting for the Detroit Lions. All right, we have trivia. Joe, you ready for a little trivia? This is always one of our favorite parts.
Yeah, I'm always really good at trivia.
What's
so
your
this will be
favorite
fun.
number outside of 72?
73.
Okay. Is that too many?
I am not taking 73 calls. No.
All right, 73
All right.
divided by 10 is what? 7.3. We'll call her 7.3.
All right, perfect.
So I don't know who that would be.
How about caller 7? That sounds delightful.
We'll do caller 7 today. God, we're just acquiescing to everything Jesse Nelson wants. What's the category in today's trivia?
Today's Wilde and Tausch trivia category, Average Joes.
Oh.
Questions about people named Joe who
That's
are
fun.
not as Hall of Fame worthy as Joe Thomas.
All right, I do not know the number here. Can you? 844-770-3776.
You nailed
there
it.
we go.
Have a little confidence, old
844-770-3777. That's that repetition that happens with radio, guys. That's why we love it. Caller 7 for Average Joe trivia. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I just want to win a national championship.
The College Football Playoff National Championship, presented by AT&T. Coverage begins Monday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here, and even though it's the first weekend in a long time without any local football to enjoy, you know I'm still feeling good on this Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints. But does your next paint project call for the bold colors of your favorite team, like green and gold or cardinal and white? For whatever your next project calls for, do what my family did and trust Home and Lindsay's pro painters to get the job done right. Choosing the pros is the way to go. All you have to do to get connected with them is stop into any of Home and Lindsay's Madison area locations. Ask, and they'll help find the pro painters best suited for what you need. And remember, Home and Lindsay is the one paint you can trust to withstand the challenges of Wisconsin's weather year-round. Home and Lindsay, great paint, great people. And stick around for Feelgood Friday coming up to close out today's show, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Milestone for Coach. Greg Gard collecting his 200th career win Tuesday in a 70-68 dub over Ohio State. The Badger head coach on why it takes more than just one person to climb that mountain. Audio courtesy Badger Athletics.
I've had terrific players, terrific coaches with me. I got a phenomenal staff right now, support system. You divide this up, and it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people, a lot of hours that go unseen and unnoticed to have a opportunity to help a program be successful.
Wisconsin travels to USC for a Saturday afternoon showdown.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
When you've been seriously injured, you'll need a team with knowledge and experience to get the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
As a bull rider, I prefer to do things single-handedly. That's why I love the UW Credit Union app. Doggy! It lets me check accounts, make transfers and more on the go. And if I need an extra hand, UW Credit Union has convenient local branches. Yippee! So, if you want simple mobile banking, mosey on over to UW Credit Union. They're here for every y'all. Federally insured by NCUA.
Happy New Year and happy new engagement. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. You have heard me talk about corporate, fundraising, and even casino events, but we are also amazing wedding DJs. Never cheesy and always the perfect fit for the perfect couple. Please let us help you narrate your wedding day love story while playing an amazing soundtrack that will rock your dance floor. Create lifelong memories of your one special day. Do it right and do it with celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion, or your first big lightning strike, There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Purchase your tickets, grab some friends, and get to the Sylvie on Monday, February 24th for Andy North Trivia Night, presented by Exact Sciences. Enjoy a fun and inspiring evening of trivia, music, food, and refreshments while helping to raise money for UW Carbone Cancer Center. This fun and inspiring event is hosted by Andy North, and in addition to the trivia, the lineup includes a silent auction, celebrity appearances, and prizes. Doors open at 6 p.m. Visit AndyNorthAndFriends.com to buy your tickets. Past year's events have sold out quickly, so get your tickets today.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
This ain't a good time, but when is it ever? I know the perfect time, and maybe that's never. So don't you dare leave me now, throw my heart on the ground.
All right, 73 callers. Way to go, Jesse. Wilde and Tausch back with you. Jason joining us a little bit later. Joe Thomas. Man, great to have Joe in office. Going to try to get him a cup of coffee here. Get him cranked up. Trivia today, Average Joe, or Not Your Average Joe. And we have our Not Your Average Elijah in Poinette. Great little supper club down there in Poinette. What is that supper club down there in Poinette, Elijah?
Oh, I think you're talking about Owl's Nest.
Maybe. It's right on the water. It's right down there on the water.
Oh.
Great fish fry.
Parker's Resort?
Could be. Could be.
Are you going to know it if he says the name of it?
If it really rang a bell, yes. But obviously that did not
We got
happen.
a few. We got Fitz's, Fishtails.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. It's one of those.
Lakeside. They're all good.
You have no idea what
I
he's
love Poinette. It's a great little community down there, up north there on the way. All right. You want to say hello to Hall of Famer Joe Thomas, Elijah?
Sure. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great. Doing great. Good to chat with you today.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, what's the name
I was
of
just
that?
thinking about you. I haven't heard you on the radio for a while. I used to be on, every so often.
Yeah, doesn't he need to come around more often, Elijah? First off, it'd be great if our producer would answer his texts and actually do it. That would be a good first start. Outside of that, yeah. What else can we do, Joe?
But it's great to actually be invited.
Get
And
you
I
a cup
come
of
down.
coffee.
The last time I showed up, the security escorted me back to my car.
True.
I'm glad I didn't get arrested.
You're a very intimidating
I'm glad
guy.
the sheriff,
so.
Calvin Barrett, didn't throw me in the clink there. Former
yes,
teammate.
Calvin. He's the man. All right, here we go, Elijah. First question. Which Italian-American actor is known for his roles in Goodfellas, Raging Bull, My Cousin Vinny, and Home Alone? Is it Joe Pesci, Joe Keery, or
Joe Pesci?
Joe DiMaggio? There's not even really anything funny. That was pretty good.
Who
Well
came
done.
up with those options?
Well done.
That was an easy one.
Joe, you got question 2?
Question number 2. We've got, at which of these schools did Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow not play college football? Is it LSU, Clemson, or Ohio State?
Clemson.
Dang, well done. Joe Burrow. What do we think of Joe Burrow? He's obviously great, but
great when they get in the playoffs.
He's not. Can you put him in the same level with Lamar? Obviously, Mahomes up here.
He does different things, but I think he just doesn't have the quality of talent around him that those other guys do to be able to fully, win the Super Bowl.
Does Josh Allen have that much more talent than Joe? Joe Burrow's got Jamar Chase and T.
But on
Higgins.
defense, their defense is Swiss cheese, man. They can't
Buffalo's
stop anybody.
Buffalo's
have
defense.
you seen what Joe Burrow did this year?
I did. He was
set
impressive.
The league on fire.
He was
He
impressive.
did everything he could have. Now he doesn't run the ball, so he doesn't look as multidimensional, but he's a much more talented thrower of the
Listen,
football
I
than
love
Josh
Joe
Allen.
Burrow, but I feel like we give him a lot of passes. All right, last one. Which of these famous boy bands features a member named Joe? Is it One Direction, Backstreet Boys, or Jonas Brothers?
God, I have no idea.
I wouldn't have either. I think we have a perfect week going.
It is a perfect week.
Hey, just wait a second, Elijah. Well, hold on.
Pressure here.
Elijah, we have a perfect week going, and this
is a very
you literally,
important question
if you
to get
this
right.
wrong, you ruin a perfect week. If you get it right, it's salutations across the board.
And it's Friday.
So no pressure. Okay, what do you got?
I don't know. Do the Jonas Brothers all start with a J?
Oh, you tell me.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I wish my sister was right with me. She'd know.
Why don't you call your text your no? Okay, what are we thinking?
Phone and friends are frowned upon.
Let's go with Backstreet Boys.
Oh, dude. Elijah, you talked yourself out of it.
You gotta go with your gut.
In fairness, I don't think we did trivia on Monday, so it wouldn't have been a perfect week anyways.
It would have been a perfect week with an asterisk.
Yeah, asterized it. All right, you got 2 out of 3, so that's 3 entries in, and Jesse will probably forget to draw, so we'll probably let you know on Monday.
We're gonna have Joe draw.
Joe.
There we go.
Drawing Joe.
Drawing Joe.
Elijah, have a great weekend. We appreciate your support, and pretty good job on trivia. You just stick with your gut next time.
All right. Hey, you guys have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Elijah, great little spot up in Poinet that I cannot remember the name of. Are you a supper club guy?
I do like supper clubs, but I don't have the knowledge that you do. Didn't you do a show?
I did. I
going
love
across.
I love a good supper club.
Well, not country, but going across Wisconsin, visiting the.
I don't know if there's.
Clubs.
I love dive bars and I love supper clubs, and the Friday night supper club with the fish fry. You get the little relish. Not that you ever eat anything
tray.
off the relish tray.
I love the relish tray.
What's your go-to
I'm just
off the relish?
Pickle, turnips, pickled onions, anything pickled.
So
is
now
delightful.
that you're living off the land.
Yeah, of course.
What is
no
your
electricity?
You don't do
off
anything
the grid,
yet.
Homeschool.
What is your?
I make my own clothes for my children.
What is your favorite thing you grow
outside of Hall of Fame beef?
Outside of the Hall of Fame beef,
Wagyu?
yeah, of course.
A tomato.
Just a good, like a beef steak, or what do we got? What's your go-to?
I do like the beef steak. Yeah, the heirloom tomatoes are amazing because when you buy a tomato in the store, they pick it when it's green. Unless you go to the farmer's market, like you're getting a tomato that's ripe, but not all that ripe. But when you pick it from your garden, it's like a day from being rotten. So it's as juicy and tender and sweet as you'll ever get a tomato. And you cut up those big beef steaks, and it looks like the inside of a brain that's got like all the little wavy lines and stuff. And you can put anything on it, right? Little mozzarella. You can make it on a BLT, which is my kid's favorite. You can just eat it with cottage cheese and pepper, which I love to do in the summer.
Cottage cheese and pepper. That's why
fantastic.
You're healthy.
You should try it.
You're
great.
100% right. I should.
It's delightful.
All right. 10 o'clock hour will be in 2 minutes. We have some great audio from Brian Gutekunst that I want to get Joe's reaction to about kind of where this team's at and kind of relay it back to his playing days. We will do that in 2 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here, introducing Pizza Hut's original stuffed crust and wings bundle. A large one-topping stuffed crust pizza and 16 boneless wings with 2 dips, and all for just $19.99. Pizza Hut is home to the original stuffed crust pizza, topped and stuffed with over a half pound of delicious, melty cheese. And Pizza Hut's boneless wings are sauced and tossed to perfection and delivered hot directly to you. Order on the app or order online at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hi, this is Dave Kane. You're listening to Madison's Home of the Bucks, a good Karma brand radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street, and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst meeting with the media yesterday at Lambeau Field for a season-ending press conference, talking about the urgency that he needs to see from the team in the pursuit of winning a championship. Also talked about the future for Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and other Packers players. Plenty to check out from ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky. He's got it all outlined over at ESPNWisconsin.com. Jason Wilde also scheduled to appear. He's not hosting the show today. He's scheduled to appear coming up at 11:15 to talk about yesterday's press conference with Mark Tauscher and special guest cousin sub of the day, Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. Straight ahead on Wilde and Tausch here on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks back in action at Fiserv Forum hosting the Toronto Raptors. Tip time is at 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30. The state's college basketball teams both ranked in the top 25. 7th-ranked Marquette tomorrow hosts Xavier. 24th-ranked Wisconsin on the road at USC. Wilde and Tausch continues right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Hour here on Wilde and Tausch with Hall of Famers. Not Browns Hall of Famer. You're in the Browns Hall of Fame already, too? Is that, what did you...
You know, they don't have an official Hall of Fame. They have like a Ring of Honor type thing.
And you're at Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And is it the Snap Streak and Ring of Honor? Or is it one?
You know,
is it adjacent?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thanks.
They put my Snap Streak in the stadium before I got into the Browns Ring of Honor. And when I went back for the Ring of Honor or whatever they call the club, I don't remember if they took the Snap Streak down to put my name up or not. It's a great question.
Oh, so just wait. So you don't even know if you have
I can't
both.
remember because honestly, the side of the stadium that I sat in when I went to the games this
I ain't gonna
year
lie to you, that's a flex.
was the other side.
That's a flex. Well, I'm not sure. I know I'm in the Ring of Honor. I don't know if that one is still there or if there's a banner.
You know, I'm glad you asked that question so I could give everybody the opportunity to know that, hey, how many people have two things in their team's Ring of Honor?
Not very many. So before we get into Brian Gudekunst and what he had to say yesterday, number one wideout, urgency, there's a lot of stuff I want to get your opinion on. Myles Garrett, what would you advise? Because if you're looking at it, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He has been fantastic. Does he want to finish his career as a Brown, or they're in it, and I don't know exactly how much you can say, but with the quarterback situation where they're at, they need a reload. If the Packers call young ascending team and they offer something that the Browns would take, what would you tell Myles Garrett? Yes or no? What would you advise? He comes to you and said, Joe, I know you had a chance to go to the Broncos. You finished your career in Cleveland. Would you have done anything differently, or what would you tell Myles Garrett to do?
So I don't think Myles has to make that decision right now because I don't think there's any trades that are going to happen until we find out what the Browns are going to do at quarterback. So we'll have a much better idea if you're a Cleveland fan to figure out, hey, what are the Browns going to do? They have the number 2 pick in the draft. They don't have a lot of cap space, but they've shown a willingness to make some trades and to kick the can down the road a little bit, especially when they feel, which they do, that they have a win-now team. They've got talent across the board. Of course, they could use a little bit more here or there, but they've got a great defense. They're loaded at cornerback. They've got a generational pass rusher in Myles Garrett. They've got some other ascending defensive linemen. They've got a good offensive line. Running backs, a little bit in flux because Nick Chubb got hurt, but that's an easy position to replace in the NFL. And Jerry Jeudy had a great season this year after they traded for him from Denver. David Njoku's a Pro Bowl tight end. So, they have all the pieces in place, and that's why they did the Deshaun Watson deal in the first place because they thought, hey, all we need is a franchise quarterback. And so I think with that in mind, you will see here through the draft what the Browns' intention is this season. If they still feel like, hey, we can get a Sam Darnold type, we can get somebody like that, or we can draft a quarterback number 2, and now we're right back in the playoffs. Or if we don't feel like that, all of a sudden they're going to start trading their pieces. They're going to start trading draft choices to move back to do what they did a few years ago when they were rebuilding, which is, hey, we want to collect draft picks. We want to save salary cap space, and we want to trade our veterans away to plan for the future. And so I think once we see that, then I'd be able to give young Myles Garrett a little bit better recommendation. But I think for him, reflecting on my own experience, I think there's a huge benefit looking back at his own legacy if he plays with one team, which is something that you did, something that I did, and something that very few players in today's professional football actually get an opportunity to do. So if you have that opportunity, I think it's pretty rare, pretty special, and it's pretty meaningful when it's all said and done to say, hey, I was a Cleveland Brown. Hey, I was a Green Bay Packer my entire life. That's my identity. That's who I was. That's who the fans know me as. And there's no confusion about when I go in the Hall of Fame, what helmet I'm going to be carrying when I walk up there. And I think that is something that's meaningful not only to you as a player who's reflecting on your own legacy when it's all said and done, but also to the fans and how they remember you. You were only wearing my team's favorite helmet.
Okay, so we don't want Joe talking to Myles Garrett as a Packer fan.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely not. No.
So we would love to have Myles Garrett. He is – what makes
Could
him –
you give up 3 first-round picks? Because that's what the price is.
I understand. Yeah, Goody's not giving up 3 first-round picks.
He doesn't trade for anybody. He ain't giving up a 6th-round pick.
I don't think that's going to happen. But before we get into the Goody comments, can you explain how important it is to have one of those guys, a T.J. Watt, a Myles Garrett, what it does to you as an offensive lineman, and when you get up in the Wednesday meeting and they say, we ain't letting this guy wreck the game, how much that helps the rest of your defense? Because right now Green Bay doesn't have that guy.
As much as I love offensive linemen, we're only as good as our weakest link, right? We're a chain because we can't move, but the defensive line can. So if I'm a great left tackle and my right tackle stinks, you think that great player that usually lines up over me is going to line up over me? Probably not. They're not going to waste that guy, so they're just going to move him to the other side. So they're going to find the matchup.
Did you like
best.
that? Like, if let's say it was a T.J. Watt or whoever, did you like it when they were like, I'm going to go over to the other side. I think I'll have better success. And then maybe you go against more of a, just a guy.
So I always knew, like, if I would go against a guy like Von Miller a little bit early in my career, Elvis Dumerville did that a few times.
But
J.J. Watt came over a couple times.
Dumerville could be off the ground.
Well, he's 5'8.5".
Ugh.
He was not
in
his stilettos, and then he can bend too, and he gets up under you with that inside hand,
and
he's
strong as a bull.
He's super strong. But we digress. But I think for a pass rusher, like, he is the second most important person on that team behind quarterback, because quarterbacks are closer on offense and a pass rusher is your closer on defense. Yep. And as much as we want to, like, double team, want to slide to that guy, like, when the game's on the line, you can't sacrifice resources on offense to put 2 or 3 guys on one pass rusher and then only have 4 guys in the route and have everybody else on the D-line one-on-one, which now the defensive line coach, the defensive coordinator, they know where all their one-on-ones are going to be. They know where the slide's going.
Walk linebackers up. Don't let the back come out to chip. Yep.
So now all of a sudden their playbook is super juicy because they know what the offensive line's doing, where they're sliding, and who they're chipping. So now all of a sudden you get a one-on-one, and that's why we've seen T.J. Watt be as dominant as he has been, right? Because they're winning the game or it's tied. The other team's offense takes the ball. They need a field goal or they need a touchdown, and they got to go one-on-one. And he's going to jump the count because he's been listening to that snap count all day. He knows all the keys and indicators from the quarterback and the offensive lineman, whether they start rocking out of their stance, squeezing the football, the quarterback opening his hands, whatever it is, dropping his butt sometimes. Like, he's going to jump the snap, and he doesn't care if there's a 5-yard penalty. It doesn't matter because he knows at some point in that drive it's going to be a sack, fumble, and the game's over, and he just closed and did exactly what he's getting paid to do.
Yes, it did, and that is something Goody is going to need to try and find. It's hopefully Rashawn Gary. Hopefully a lot of these guys, younger players, will take a step, but they're getting not that young anymore. All right, Jesse, so Jason, who's taking a day off, well-deserved, by the way,
and he's scheduled to appear at 11:15.
Yeah, he can't help himself. He loves working.
10:15, and he's calling in and waiting on the hotline.
He had a great question to Brian Gutekunst, and I thought some very interesting sound yesterday. Let's hear this little exchange between Jason and Brian, and we'll get Joe's reaction.
Spent a lot of time today talking about a lot of really good things, right? A lot of growth and a lot of really good players you have on your team. You talked a little bit about inconsistency, but I mean, the bottom line is you did finish 11-6, and you didn't get to where you wanted to go. So as you go into 2025, like, what is your challenge? Like, what is your, like, hey, this is title town, this is about championships, we didn't get to what disappointed you about this year that you need to be better about?
Yeah, you always have some disappointments in the year. I think for me, the thing that's been on my mind, I think, as we've concluded this season, is we need to continue to ramp up our sense of urgency. these opportunities don't come. You know, the life of a player in the National Football League is not very long. We got a bunch of good guys in that locker room. We got a bunch of talented guys in that locker room, and I think it's time that we start competing for championships, right? And I think they're ready. I think they, like I said, I think they are wired right. I think that group is the kind of guys that can do that. But you know, at the end of the day, you got to go do it. You know, and we fell short in some areas this year that, like they always are every year, a little frustrating. But at the same time, you know, I didn't think they blinked. You know, and so I'm excited about the group, but the sense of urgency, not getting complacent. You know, some of these guys have now proven themselves to be NFL football players and have attained that. But you know, what's out there for us as a team that we're willing to commit to and sacrifice for, and you know, so that's kind of the. If I'm looking at one thing, that'd be it.
Sense of urgency. Things happen, and you had an 11-year Hall of Fame career. Was there a point in your career where your urgency jumped up and maybe there's younger guys? How do you balance that when you know every year veteran guys are going to be leaving, more young guys are coming in? As a leader on that team, I guess when you heard Goody's comments, what went into your mind?
I was thinking about Myles Garrett, because every year you get older in the NFL, the sense of urgency goes up because you realize that your window to hoist that Lombardi trophy and to put that ring on your finger is closing, and you're getting closer to the end of your entire life, your identity, which has been since you were a little kid playing Pee-wee football, junior Lancers in 7th grade. I've been a football player. This is who I am. And the dream from the day you started playing was to win a championship, whether that was middle school, now high school, WIAA, state champions. All of a sudden you go to college, you want to win a Rose Bowl when you're at Wisconsin. Now you want to win a national championship. You get in the NFL, it's Super Bowl. And that dream and that opportunity to be a champion, that window closes every single year. And I think that's one of the issues that you have when you have a young team like the Packers, which I think, again, this year we're the youngest team
yep.
in the NFL, which is amazing.
Years, yeah.
As talented and as well as they have played, they're still super young. But you don't quite understand when you're young how quickly those years fly by. You just think it's forever.
Oh, we got another year. Oh, these guys are under contract.
It takes forever. You go in there in training camp, and you're there at 6:30 in the morning, and you don't go home back to your hotel till 9:30 at night. You get an hour of watching the Olympics if the Olympics are on, which I used to love in training camp, and you go to bed and you go do it again for 6 weeks in a row. It's not like college where you have 2.5 weeks. So it feels like it's forever. The seasons are super long because you 20 games. If then you playoffs, you got more. And so I think you get caught and lost in the moment and the monotony of the day-to-day, and you don't realize until you get a little bit older. And as you get older, you start realizing, like, hey, this might be my last chance. Year 7, there's a lot of great players who only played 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame guys, 8, And so I think that comment about the sense of urgency was interesting, and I think it was a reflection of the youth and maybe a little shot across the bow for the young guys that, hey, you may think everything's good, we're having a good season, but good is not good enough unless you win a championship. And that's the new mentality in college football and in the NFL. Look at Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. They're ready to run him out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Never had a losing season. The way it used to be when we were growing up was, hey, you make the playoffs, you're a good team, you're maximizing your talent. That's good enough.
Yep.
Now it's like you need to be getting better every year, and then you need to win the Super Bowl or we're getting you out of there. And it's the same with the players. It's not just with the coaching staff. Like, hey, if this team's not getting better, even though you think you're doing a good job and your coach is giving you attaboys, like, we're going to find somebody else because we need to find a solution to our problem why we didn't win a championship, and we're going to turn over every stone, and there's nobody that's safe.
What is the right mix? Because this has been a young team. You want to stay young. You don't want a bunch of old guys that are kind of on their last legs. But I think he said you got some pros now. You saw the Packers beat every team they were supposed to outside of the Bears, which, again, it was what it was. They were kind of locked in. And a team that can't get over the hump against the big boys. How do you balance that and say you went out and picked up Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, both were home run pickups. Goody also has to have that sense of urgency. And he just had great success jumping into the free agency pool, but that's not the sustainable way to do it. What do you do if you're Brian Gutekunst?
So I love the Packers' philosophy in general. It's kept them competitive for a long time, right? Since 93, when
and having Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Was it 93 when
Hall
Brett
of Fame
Favre
beef
came in?
and
Maybe
92.
I remember sitting in my dad's living room in Brookfield, Wisconsin, watching on the little TV that had the pull knob, and I remember Magic Man got hurt, and Favre goes in. My dad goes, season's over, And from that point on, they've been great almost every single season, and they've had that success. But I think if you reflect back on all those years and only 2 Super Bowl wins, which came with 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and some good fortune, I think they need to realize that in today's NFL, when you feel like your barrels are loaded, you need to shoot your shot in that season. And what the Rams did a few years ago when they made the big swing and they traded Goff and they brought in Matt Stafford and they were willing to get rid of draft picks to try to get talent right now, like proven talent right now, because this is a win-now team. I think in today's NFL, if you want a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl and you have a roster that can win a Super Bowl, you got to take that shot. You got to trade some draft picks, maybe swing for the fences, push some salary cap dollars into future years, and hopefully the fan bases understand that, hey, we're shooting our shot right now here for the next 2 or 3 years because we have the dudes. But it might hurt us a little bit in a few years when we're rebuilding, but you have to stick with us because this has been the plan. And as long as we consistently draft pretty well, which the Packers have always done, you're going to still keep your cupboards pretty well stocked, even though you don't have that high-end talent. And to me, the one thing the Packers are missing on this team is who are your truly great players? You got good players all across the board. But who are my great players when people talk on the national shows about, all right, who's the best tight end in the league? Who's the best quarterback? Who's the best receiver? Who's the best pass rusher? Who's the best defensive back? Like, other than Zaire Alexander, who was hurt most of the year and probably is going to get cut this year at the end of the season, I don't know if the Packers have one guy who's in the top 5, maybe Josh Jacobs, but in the top 5 at an impact position.
And that is going to be our next topic. I had a great text.
What a transition.
That was fantastic. We have I had a great text from my buddy Danny in Bristol that we're going to get to.
Too.
That is that exact point about good, but how many great. And when you think great and you think gas station, it's Quick Trip. Life is busy. Quick Trip gets it, whether you're craving fresh coffee like Joe, a tasty bakery treat like me, a quick grab-and-go meal like Jesse. Quick Trip is your go-to. Variety and quality, fast service. Quick Trip's team is all about making your day easier and better, from clean restrooms to fresh groceries and everything in between. Quick Trip's got you covered, plus ATMs and free air for your tires. Nothing free in this world, but there is air at Quick Trip. Nature's Touch Butter, $2.99 a pack. Variety of bagels, 99 cents. Or 3 for $2.79, and their chicken, roasted whole chicken, $6.99, and 8-piece fried chicken or tenders for $9.99 on Wednesdays. You can get pizzas, $6.99 on Tuesdays. Everything you need at Quick Trip. Download the Quick Rewards app. Take advantage of everything that Quick Trip has to offer. Order ahead for pickup or curbside delivery. Quick Trip. We'll see you next time. We will get into. I'm fascinated about the receiver position and how many impact great players do you need on a roster? And how many does Green Bay have? We'll delve into that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Model year closeout specials are going on now at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Mark Toscher here, encouraging you to log on to ZimbrickChevrolet.com to check out all the 2024 model year closeout specials. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, now is the perfect time to take advantage of some great year-end offers. It's also the time of the year where cold weather can impact your vehicle's performance. A few helpful tips from the service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet. If your battery is 5 years old or more, consider changing it right now. Don't wait to get stranded. Don't ignore your tires. When it snows, you know how important it is for your tires to have great traction on the slippery roads. And don't forget your windshield wipers. Don't set yourself up for a bad situation by looking through streaks and smears. Just stop by Zimbrick Chevrolet. They can replace your wiper blades. Just stop by Zimbrick Chevrolet so they can replace your wiper blades. Keep your vehicle ready for winter driving. Book an appointment with the service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet right now at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie. The name you can trust.
Hold your friends close and your rivals closer on Jim, Matt, and Molly.
Molly, thank you so much for hopping on. You obviously have carte blanche to join the show whenever. Now, Evan Cohen did think that you might actually be on the show more during your maternity leave than Matt Hamilton will be on during the same time.
Okay. I'll take the challenge.
Molly,
okay.
we want you to be better and rested and ready to get back, and I don't want to lose this.
Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school. Yay! It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful, energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Madison athletes seeking elite training need to get started today at Total Athlete Performance. TAP is here to serve and educate the serious athlete with their speed, agility, and semi-private training options. Sessions are now available in both Windsor and their TAP facility inside the Verona Athletic Center. Also access remote training anytime, anywhere with the Total Athlete Performance app. Visit tapwisconsin.com for subscriptions, including monthly payment options. That's tapwisconsin.com.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
The NFL Draft is now underway.
Live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
Thursday, April 24th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Welcome back into Wilde and Tausch. Yeah, it's been fun. Joe Thomas hanging out for the morning with us, with Jesse and myself, and been some good talks on. I'd like to get Myles Garrett in. Joe is not going to help us in that recruiting effort, which is okay. Well, then we'll have to go to Max Crosby. We'll try to get him. Impact players, and that's where this conversation is going to go here. And I am a big Brian Gutekunst fan. I think he has drafted well. I think the roster that he had when he took over, he has jumped into the free agency a lot more than his predecessors did. And in today's NFL, I think it's been important if you miss on a pick, you go and find someone else. And what Brian Gutekunst does that I really appreciate is he is not interested in the old names. He's not interested in paying 32 and 33-year-old passer, Von Millers and some of the. He's not. That's not where he's at. But I have to take a look, and I know there's some people on Twitter that get after me about my standumhood of Brian Gutekunst, and I am looking at why is Green Bay not playing on the divisional round? What happened this season that we were unable to get over the hump? And I think if we really want to take a long look, it's probably, do we have the dogs? Do we have those Joe Thomases, the Hall of Fame players at these elite positions, or do we just have a lot of really good players? So Jesse, take a look at the Green Bay Packers roster, and let's just kind of delve into, Joe, if you're telling me, obviously quarterback, obviously left tackle, pass rusher, corner, what am I missing as far as where you need to have those monster impact guys?
Yeah, it's really those 4 positions, right? It's your quarterback. You want to have your blindside protector, which, now that I'm not playing left tackle anymore, I would argue that it's better to have a good offensive line
as a group,
rather than having a great left tackle and then having one weak link anywhere along that offensive line. Because like we mentioned previously in the show, since you guys were listening, of course, for the entire time, if you have one bad offensive lineman, the defensive line is going to find that guy, and they're going to put their best player that they can over that dude when it matters, and your guy's going to get beat. And then you're probably going to lose the game. But cornerback, quarterback, pass rusher, and then pass catcher.
Okay, so I got this text, and Danny is a great fan of Wilde and Tausch. He really loves Jesse. And
hey, Danny.
His question, Goody has done a nice job of drafting good players and developing depth, but has struck out on game changers. They have 0 guys that you have to game plan for. Maybe Edgerrin Cooper has an opportunity, but right now, nobody. So we have a lot of work to do. Who are the Green Bay Packers game-changing players?
Oh, snap.
That's the question. And I would argue this. If you're asking me right now, who are the Packers game changers? It's the 2 guys that Brian Gutekunst picked up in free agency. Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. And Xavier McKinney had a really good year. I believe he was all-pro. No, he was a Pro Bowler. 8 picks. Did he have the monster impact that we hoped? I would say yes. Is he a game changer? Is he Troy Polamalu? He's got to prove it more. I don't know if he's at that level of Ed Reed, but the rest of the guys, I don't know how many other game changers the Green Bay Packers have on their roster.
And it's interesting because what are the 2 positions that teams pay the least for on offense and then on defense?
Running back
and safety, or maybe linebacker. And it depends on the type of linebacker, right? More of the
definitely
4-3
inside,
off the ball.
Yep.
But if you're a guy like Edgerrin Cooper who could line up and rush, like you have a different value, obviously, than just your off-the-ball traditional inside linebacker. But in today's game, unless you're playing safety like Troy Polamalu, which you're almost a pass rusher at that in that scheme, the way they would blitz him all over the place, and you're disruptive, like you can have a limited amount of impact on the game because a lot of times you're playing deep and you're in coverage. And yes, you have an opportunity to pick the football off, but it's not like teams are going to throw at you if you're a stud. Like when we would play against Ed Reed, we're just not going to throw over there, right? Like
I remember vividly when we played Pittsburgh, we didn't even get into our run install, and it was, where's 43?
Every time.
And
where's
it was,
43?
all right, you better make sure, don't let him wreck a game. And we had plays drawn up where we were comboing up to him and letting a linebacker go. And, of course, he still ends up scooping and scoring a fumble. We get beat by 7. Go. So he is a true impact player, so safety. But that's the thing. I don't know. Like, if I'm game planning against Green Bay right now, like in Philadelphia did last week, I don't think there was anybody on the D-line that they put that target on. Or like, all right, we got to chip here. We got to do this. Now, I'm sure they did, but they also had Lane and Jordan out at tackle. I don't know if that's the case, and that is something that when you talk about urgency, that's going to be something on Goody's checklist.
Who are the guys that you have to game plan for? That's the litmus test of, is this guy a game changer at a game-changing position? And I don't think the Packers have that. Because even Josh Jacobs, as great as he has been, he's not really a game changer because he's not a big home run hitter like some of these other running backs like Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. Like, he's a very good back. He was excellent in their scheme. He gives you a great dynamic to be able to just ground and pound guys. Like, the fitness level that he has is amazing. When I called that game against the Saints, he touched the ball like 9 times in a row and he doesn't come out. He'd have a long run, and you almost always see a running back tapping their head and going to the sideline. He doesn't need that break, right? So he is that battering ram that can bludgeon you over and over again, but he's not a guy that can hit explosive plays. And I think the Packers hope Christian Watson can be that guy, but he just hasn't proven it consistently. And I think if he's able to take the next step and stay healthy and prove consistently he can be that game-changing guy you got a game plan for, maybe, but he hasn't really given us enough confidence yet at this point in his career that he's going to become that player.
Can a tight end be a game changer?
No.
So Travis Kelce's not a game. Well, not now, but in the past, was he not a game changer?
He changes the game, but you don't game plan for him specifically. I think
maybe somebody should have.
He can hurt you.
They would have three championships.
He can hurt you, and he's going to hurt you on third down and in the red zone. But normal down and distance, if he catches a 7 or 8 or 10-yard pass, you're okay with that. But it's those guys that are able to beat you even when you got coverage rolled to him down the field. Think about like the Tyreek Hill type guy where they're like, oh boy, we got to scratch half our coverages this week because we can't let this dude behind us. Or this guy's going to catch 15 balls for 150 yards against us if we don't double team him on every single play. Like, think about Belichick, how he used to attack an offense. It was like, all right, who are the two guys
guy away.
we're going to take away? Yep. We don't care if we have to double team every play. We have to move our best pass rusher out there to whack him at the line of scrimmage before he gets off the ball. But we have to do whatever it takes to slow this guy down. And I don't think you have that conversation about any tight end in the league.
I would disagree with that. I think Gronk and there are some Shannon Sharp back in the old days, but
even still, to me, they were a product of having a good offense elsewhere that opened up those guys. And you could always split Gronk out because he was going to get a good matchup, right? A little guy on him, just throw the ball high, and he could make plays in critical moments. But in your normal down and distance, we never. Now, maybe we should have. We didn't exactly smoke the Patriots all that often, but we didn't worry about Gronk taking the game over from the first play and all of a sudden being this force you couldn't stop. It was usually because they're spreading the ball to their receivers, they're opening up space, then they're getting creative matchups with him in critical moments, those third downs, those red zone situations. So I'm not saying they don't have value, but I think if you have a great tight end, but you don't have a Patrick Mahomes at quarterback or a couple guys on the outside to create that space for your tight end, I don't think they're the game changer that you can completely rely on by themselves.
What about a Lane Johnson or a Penei Sewell or one of these guys that you can really lean on when it's third and short, when you never have to worry about? You wouldn't say game changer. What would you call Joe Thomas?
You and I, we can lose the game real fast. Trust me. I've lost some games with the Browns where guys got around me or I made mental errors or mistakes, and we lost the game. But we could sit there and pancake 5 guys on the defensive line, but if the quarterback doesn't throw it to the right guy or cornerback makes a good play, like, it really doesn't matter. It's all for naught. And so I think to have a pair of great tackles like the Eagles do or the Lions, like, that's great. That's a luxury because now you don't have to worry about putting more resources into pass protection. And you don't have to worry about maybe a war daddy like Myles Garrett coming off the edge, TJ Watt, because you feel pretty comfortable about that matchup. But it just gives you an opportunity to now throw to your playmakers.
Well, it's abundantly clear that Green Bay has some work to do in that regard because as we're sitting here, I think there's 2 guys that you would probably say are game changers, and I think you could fight and argue whether or not those positions are the ones you want them to be. Is Jordan Love a game changer? I would say at this point he is not. I think he's a good quarterback that has a room to grow, but he's not where some of these other quarterbacks are. We'll have more questions. You know what, Jesse? I want you also to start delving into the YouTube, as you like to call them, dwellers. Let's get some questions there. I want to talk some Badgers since we have one of the all-time great Badgers here. We want to get into that a little bit. Want to get into your Detroit Lions thing, but I also want to make sure if you need a little extra cash, you know where to go. FortriaClinicalTrials.com. Have some studies going for you to grab a little cash. Healthy adults ages 18 to 60. Body mass index 18 to 32. Joe, you don't qualify. Study involves 2 stays, 15 nights, 7 follow-ups, $13,820. That'd be nice to have, though, in your pocket. Receive another $300 per qualified participant. Head over to FortriaClinicalTrials.com. That's Fortria, Fortrea, clinicaltrials.com. All right, so we have not hit on the Lions game against the Commanders. And Jesse Nelson has said some things over the course of the week that makes me think he's a fraudulent Packer fan. I know that is a strong word.
Very strong.
I am going to ask Joe if he believes that there's a little fraudulence to Jesse's Packer fandom. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Happy New Year and happy new engagement. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. You have heard me talk about corporate, fundraising, and even casino events, but we are also amazing wedding DJs. Never cheesy and always the perfect fit for the perfect couple. Please let us help you narrate your wedding day love story while playing an amazing soundtrack that will rock your dance floor. Create lifelong memories of your one special day. Do it right and do it with CelebrationsEntertainment.com. That's CelebrationsEntertainment.com.
Do you want to have more fun watching the NFL playoffs? Try playing Sleeper Picks. Just download the Sleeper app today and pick more or less on at least 2 players' projected stats. You can win up to 100 times your cash. For a limited time, Sleeper has a special offer. New users have to just play $5 and they'll receive $55 in free entries. Just download the Sleeper app today and use code BRAD, B-R-A-D. Must be 18 years or older. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. Minimum deposit $25. See terms of use for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-426-2537 for help.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Trax.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV. Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're grabbing fresh coffee, a bakery treat, or a quick meal, Quick Trip is your go-to for quality and fast service. From clean restrooms to fresh groceries, easy meal options, and guaranteed fuel, we make your day easier. Plus, enjoy perks like free ATMs, free air for your tires, and sweet rewards with the Quick Rewards program. Everything you need in one stop, and always a friendly, see you next time, Quick Trip, where your day gets easier and better.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott Garrett and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
When you're having computer problems, you need a company you trust to get things working again, quickly and affordably. Madison Computer Works has been doing that for business and residential customers for decades. Our computer care plans take away the hassle of being without your computer or needing to bring it in for repair. Starting at only $10 a month, our local and friendly techs provide remote help and can fix most problems in just minutes. Call 608-231-8000 and sign up today. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
College Basketball Saturday on ESPN Radio. The Creighton Blue Jays look to take down the two-time defending national champion UConn Huskies. Coverage begins Saturday morning at 11:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
I say go, baby, go, go, go. Oh, I say go till you can't go. No more, no more.
All right, welcome back into Wilde and Tausch with Hall of Fame beef. I don't know. Is that what Annie calls you, Hall of Fame beef?
that was her nickname for me, and we've rolled that into a business name. We figured it was perfect.
Oh, so you also sell beef. Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. How did that podcast? What are you Wonellian? He's a Hall of Fame beef guy. What are you?
You're right.
You're the one that you can take it whatever direction you want to go. Yeah,
it wears a yellow wrapper.
He's selling.
Now can I do it?
Hey man, you got access to those buttons. You do what you want. You do what you want with those. How was doing a podcast with Annie? Because Annie is, for everybody that doesn't know, she is super entertaining and fun.
She's way more fun and funny than I am.
What was some? Did you guys ever get into like personal squabbles or stuff when you were doing it, or was it all professional?
You know, I would have loved to. The issue is when we did the podcast, it was mostly an interview type podcast.
You were interviewing others.
We had a Badger player, and so it was more of an interview type stuff. But I wanted to kind of parlay that into like a little more like relationship funnies, because everybody has those and you can relate to them. And I think they're, you could maybe kind of weave in some
I'll
Badger
tell you
stuff
this, so
to
I'm
it.
not putting you on the spot. Biggest pet peeve, I have two that my wife does. She refuses to turn lights off. I don't know why.
It's because you pay the electric bill and she
not
doesn't.
I got yelled at for doing that this morning.
We are a joint household. Blah, blah. I don't
Sure.
fully understand. Like, you'll come back, you come home, you'll be like, why are the lights on? What are we doing? And it doesn't seem, it doesn't faze her. And then she burns stuff, man. I had to give her an oven, an embargo last year because she burned. And then last night I had people over. We played euchre in honor of Bob Uecker. By the way, the game euchre is not from Bob Uecker.
It's not. I'm surprised.
Great game. Do you play?
I like
Need
euchre.
to get
I
you
played
in.
a ton as a kid.
Yeah.
Haven't played a lot lately because you got to have somebody that knows how to play the game, right? And
Well, Sarah's a good euchre player. I don't
you
know
should
if
play. Annie's okay.
Okay, well then that'll.
And I'm the world's greatest, so I feel like that would be a fair matchup here. Tauschers versus Thomas.
I've said I'm not a top 5 in a lot of things. Sheephead, I put my resume against anybody's.
Really?
Euchre, I'm a good player.
Yeah.
It's just, but we started going. You have to get 4 tricks if you go alone in order to get, or you get bumped.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we'll get to. But pet peeve, she burns stuff, man. I don't know what it is. Come up, my buddy comes down last night. He's like, hey, that pizza's really crisp. I said, what are you talking about? Grabbed some pizzas from Quick Trip, and Sarah claims Max was in charge, but let's be honest, the pizza is black. So those are my kind of the 2 pet peeves. What do we got from Annie? What are your pet peeves?
It's great to put the kid in charge, but when you're the parent and your child
I'm not
is
gonna,
like 12,
listen, I don't know
13,
if,
14 years
I'm not
old.
going to lie to you. I don't know if Sarah's listening.
As
she
a
listens?
supervisor, don't you think you're still in charge?
No, you got to teach responsibility.
No, I get
just
that.
get
but when it's as important as a Quick Trip pizza for
I
your
know.
friends, you can't allow 100% independence. Trust but verify in this situation,
I
Mark.
could not agree more.
Right.
And those are kind of my. But the lights is the biggest pet peeve. And trust me, if she's hosting her own show, I have a litany of pet peeves that irritate her. What say you?
She always takes my toothpaste.
Well, she just doesn't have her own toothpaste?
She does, but mine is always perfectly placed on the counter. Like,
you don't put it in the drawer. You leave it up on the...
Yeah. So I'm like a maximum
You have 2
efficiency
sinks,
guy.
I'm
I like to
assuming, right?
maximize
You
everything.
guys got
2
dual
sinks. We got
vanities,
2 sinks. So for me, everything I need is perfectly laid out so I can just grab it. She likes a beautiful look. Like, that's important to her. Me, as you might expect, as you're looking at a guy wearing snow camo on a Friday here with no snow. Efficiency, the way it looks doesn't matter. She wants to put everything away every night. And so then the most convenient thing is to take my toothpaste, which is over there. But instead of putting it back like a child, she takes it and puts it somewhere I can't find it.
So she puts it away in somewhere that's not even in your
And then I can't find it.
But she likes that it's out so she can use it, but then she doesn't like the look.
You can understand why it's a pet peeve.
I totally understand that. Oh, Jesse, what do you got?
Okay, so I am the one who leaves the lights on as a reminder to myself to go back to the room. So I am on Sarah's team on that one.
That's not surprising.
But on the other hand, I love leaving stuff places as same thing. Like if there's a piece of mail or I don't know, something that needs to be done around, like laundry that needs to be. If I leave that sitting out for a minute, that's a reminder to myself, like I need it. So I'm Team Joe on. I'm going to leave my stuff where I want it. Don't move it. When My wife, Becca, when she moves stuff that I have sitting out because she wants to tidy the place up, then I lose it and I forget to do something, and then it's like a week later, it's, oh, did you take that to wherever? Like, no, I didn't do that. I haven't even seen it out yet. I leave stuff out as a reminder for myself. So I'm definitely Team Joe on this one, anti-Team Tausch.
Yeah, so just a real quick life hack that I learned with all the travel we did living in Europe last year. Passport, right? They always tell you to put your passport in the safe when you go to a hotel room, but what's the one thing that you're probably going to forget when you leave is the stuff that's in the safe, right? You're hurrying to catch your train or you're playing in the morning. Oh, I forgot my safe. I forgot my passport in the safe, and now the rest of the trip is canceled. But if you take one of your shoes that you're going to wear the next day, put them in the safe with your passport, you're not going to walk out of the room with one shoe on. So you'll never forget your passport again.
Unless you pack numerous amounts of shoes,
well,
which I don't.
Don't you put out, like, if let's say you got an early flight, don't you put out like your outfit and your shoes you're going to wear?
Yep.
So of that outfit with shoes, take one of those shoes and put it in the safe.
Now, are you also, when you're going and you're bouncing around, and you did that a bunch, it drives me nuts that you have to bring all the suitcases up to the hotel room? Like, can't we just, it's one night, can't we pack in a duffel and then leave all the other suitcases so we don't have to lug everything
we're getting
up?
into another pet peeve of mine with it. What I don't understand is if we're going to take a weekend trip, like we're going to the Super Bowl in a little while.
That's what I heard. You're hosting.
Hosting, that's right. I'll be hosting the Super Bowl. Mark, you're invited.
I
Jesse,
can't wait.
you're invited, pending your qualifications.
Sweet.
If we're going to go and I give you the weather and the events we're going to go to, you know what we're doing, and you can just pack the outfits you're going to wear. We don't need to pack our wardrobe of options and then decide when we're there. Let's just make that decision now, and we can pack everything in a nice duffel bag.
I'm the crazy one to say, well, you're packing so much stuff. But in fairness, when you're packing for the kids, it's different. I have this great backpack. I put all my stuff there, and then kind of Katie bar the door. I just say I don't even fight on if you want to bring 3 bags, great. But do we need to lug them for a one-night hotel stay before we get to the place we're going to stay for 3?
But you're still fighting it. That's the point.
No, I'm annoyed by it.
I know, but you're still fighting it. You have not fully released that
don't
from
you
your
feel like when you
ether
give
in,
in, like I've given a ton here, can't we win on this back here?
So you would rather have 5 bags in the back of the car than have just one?
Who cares? It's the back of your car. You're not using it for anything else.
It just seems like when you're loading and unloading the car, like, oh, which one's the first stop bag? Which one's the second stop bag?
The duffel bag for the one night. Yeah, Jesse, whatever.
Yeah, he hasn't traveled enough.
Calling all Badger fans. American Family Insurance wants you and a friend to experience the best Badgers Day ever at a Wisconsin home game of your choice in the 2025 season with pregame field access, incredible seats at Camp Randall, and exclusive Badger swag. American Family Insurance has you covered. Go to amfam.com/Badgers to enter the Badgers Best Day Ever sweepstakes that is open to legal residents of all 19 states who are 18 years or older. One entry per person. amfam.com/Badgers. Dream fearlessly, insure carefully. Oh, I got to finish up too. Jeez, I just told Joe this. I have a newfound respect for Wilde. I'm sitting here doing reads. I'm getting in and out.
Wow.
We're gonna get before the 11 o'clock.
Compliments, by the way.
Kudos, grinding.
Rob in Michigan, big fan of your work today.
Staying on the clock. Somewhat, Jesse, somewhat better than what we've done. Better than what we've done.
Better than a Bulaga day, for
All
sure,
right.
yes.
We are going to hit on the Detroit Lions Commanders game, and we're going to finally get Jesse to tell Joe why he's not a fraudulent Packer fan, even though there's a lot of story to tell that he is. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Jesse Nelson to tell you about Madison Weight Loss, the program that I experienced over a 60-day interval last year from the middle of August to the middle of October, and I was able to drop 40 pounds, almost a pound a day of unnecessary, unwanted fat simply by changing my diet. I didn't have to do any intense workouts, didn't go in for any surgeries, didn't do any injections. It was the natural, healthy approach to weight loss, just changing what I eat. I tried different weight loss programs before, and I know it's the time of year year that maybe you've already tried and aren't seeing the results immediately that you were hoping to see in the turn of the new year and making a healthier lifestyle for yourself. Well, what worked best for me was finally getting in touch with Madison Weight Loss, their team of expert coaches and their guidance that they provide you. They can give you support every step along the way. They help track everything in an app for you to keep you on pace. You can find out what they have to offer at MadisonWeightLoss.com. That's MadisonWeightLoss.com. Schedule a free consultation in person or virtual. MadisonWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Get a new Tempur-Pedic mattress for just $52 per month with Steinhoffels 60-month financing. Plus, you get $300 in Steinhoffels cash only at Steinhoffels. Milestone for Coach. Greg Gard collecting his 200th career win Tuesday in a 70-68 dub over Ohio State. The Badger head coach on why it takes more than just one person to climb that mountain. Audio courtesy Badger Athletics.
You divide this up, and it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people, a lot of hours that go unseen and unnoticed to have a opportunity to help a program be successful.
Wisconsin travels to USC for a Saturday afternoon showdown.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
It's the 2024 model closeout sale at Zimbrick Chevrolet Sun Prairie. Save $11,500 on a 24 Blazer EVRS with 0.9% APR available. Save $2,000 on a 24 Colorado Crew Cab work truck. Save $54.56 on a 24 Silverado HD 2500 Crew Cab 4x4 with 3.9 APR available. Hurry, these closeout deals won't last for long. Visit Zimbrick Chevrolet Sun Prairie and ZimbrickChevrolet.com for details. Offers end January 31st.
When you or a loved one are faced with an unexpected injury or illness, Stoughton Health's urgent care is there for you. Stoughton Health has 4 convenient urgent care locations for the care you need without the wait. We have urgent care locations in Stoughton, Oregon, McFarland, and Cottage Grove with extended hours to fit your schedule. Stoughton Health accepts over 160 insurances, including Dean Health Plan, Quartz, Humana, and more. Please visit stoughtonhealth.com for more information. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Come see what the buzz is all about at Madison Axe, Madison's state-of-the-art entertainment spot. Enjoy 8 lanes of axe throwing, craft beer, interactive games, plus digital target projection and scoring. For even more fun, check out their indoor backyard with 2,000 square feet of shuffleboard, cornhole, yard games, bar table games, and more. Perfect for date night, groups, corporate meetings, or private events. Madison Axe is your destination for all things fun. Throw it, nail it, celebrate. Go to MadisonAxe.com or head to their location on Stoughton Road today.
Watch every ESPN Madison show live every day. Subscribe to ESPN Madison on YouTube for live video of every show and exclusive content. Just search ESPN Madison.
Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer.
Back at you here. What a fun show. We're almost 2 hours in. We got our last segment almost on time. Clock management, Jesse.
It's 10:58.
Jesse, hold up a second. From what we're accustomed to with Jason running the show, this would have started at 11:05. Like, I'm 7 minutes ahead of schedule if my math is correct. Fair?
You're doing great, old
Thanks,
team.
buddy. I'm not
You're
looking
great.
for... I'm just saying my clock management, me and Mike McCarthy, very similar. All right. So, Jesse, can you explain to Joe? And, Joe, you were a Packers fan. Obviously, now you have a lot of allegiances to the Browns because of your great career. But, Jesse, can you consider yourself an all-time fan of a team if you root for their biggest rival not once but twice in your lifetime? And what I mean, Jesse went with Brett Favre. he abandoned ship and went to the Minnesota Vikings full-fledged for 3 to 4 years. And now is rooting for the team that has gutted the Green Bay Packers the last 3 seasons. Ended our playoff run in 22, won the division the last 2 years, and he's pulling for the Detroit Lions to win a championship. Is that not fraudulence when it comes to being a Packer fan?
So I believe it's fraudulent if you were cheering for the Minnesota Vikings when Brett Favre was there, which you made it seem like he was cheering for them the whole time.
He did.
It wasn't just when they were running.
He's
through the
rocking
playoffs.
a purple jersey. He was like wearing
skull
horns.
I was
That's
upset.
fraudulent.
I was again.
He was doing the blah blah horn. What's that big horn that they do? The horn.
The Yaller horn.
Yaller horn. That's a silent J, right?
Actually, I got to blow that when I was doing Thursday Night Football pregame. And little known fact, it actually makes no sound. It's completely controlled with the button. Jesse,
what?
You just put your hand over the microphone and you
Is
go.
that even if you're a pro? Boy, that'll be a gift. You understand we're on video. I just want to let you know that.
That's what you do.
Matty Hayes is going to gift the heck out of that. I can guarantee it. So you're
That's
telling
my
me you
Yaller horn.
blow into that horn and there's
nothing.
Even if you're a pro
I don't even think you can blow
Yager
through it.
There's nothing in there. It's
I think
that's
it's
fake.
There's a wall on the inside. Like you can't even blow all the way through it. It's not real.
What a bunch of, you know what?
They're
I always
just as
knew the
phony as
Metrodome. It
his
was all
Packers
fake news
fan
up
base.
there with the loud noises.
Yeah.
They pump all that in.
Pump it in.
And they even
Yaller horn's
pump their
fake.
Yager horn thing?
Yeah, the Yaller horn's fake.
Oh, my God.
Breaking news.
What a joke. Anyways, I don't think you realize what you're doing there, but you keep doing what you're doing. So, Jesse, that was ridiculous. I think Packer fan, obviously, everybody loved Brett Favre. I get all that. But once he leaves, it's over, man. It's over. You're a Packer fan.
Yeah.
But now,
Go with the
Detroit
colors, the
Lions, he goes,
laundry.
oh, I went to Detroit once, and it was a nice town, and they struggled for so long. I want to see the Lions win a championship.
Is that your Jesse voice, Tausch?
That was a good Jesse, by the way. That was
super whiny and nasally. Yeah, that's what I was going
like
for.
that at all.
So this side, I'm actually on Jesse's team right here
tell me why.
because you said their biggest rival. The Detroit Lions
The
have
last
been
3 years?
doormat of the NFC North
for 40 years.
Ever.
But what about the last 3?
Yeah, but I think that when you become a fan of a team, like it's fully encompassing of the experience that you've had from the moment you started cheering for that team till where we are today. And forever, it's been the Bears and a little bit of the Vikings, right? The Vikings always had our number in the 90s. But so that's been our rival. And you almost always liked Detroit and felt bad for them because you whooped up on them. But they always had some fun players. Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, greatest running back of all time. And so I can understand how, as a Packer fan, you could enjoy watching the Lions and then also feel a little bit of empathy for their fan base who's stuck with a program that has been terrible forever.
I felt that way 2 years ago. I didn't feel that way. They're smug now, and
I don't believe they're smug, though, because I understand if they become a smug team that are
if you watch
unlikable-
on St. Brown's pod,
they're just high on winning. They're not,
unfortunately, I got a
maybe.
few better things to do than watch Amon Ra's podcast.
Boy,
or
it's
whatever
a pretty
you're-
good little podcast.
I'm sure it's
Pretty
amazing
good
for
little
you Lions
Not
fans.
bad.
And now I'm wondering if you're the Lions fan here because I don't think that's getting a lot of play outside of
I think it's
Michigan.
getting more
let's
than
be
you
honest,
think,
but
but
you never
okay.
know. But either way, I don't think Detroit has that vitriol that a team like Chicago or Minnesota because of the history, the long history.
Agree.
And the fact that, and maybe you can disagree. Maybe this is just my love for Dan Campbell. I really like what he's done there. I like what he's built.
Respect the heck out of him.
Jared Goff is a guy you can cheer for, right? He was discarded.
They had to throw a first-round pick to take him.
Right, like when they traded for him, I was like, what a great win for Detroit. I called my agent. He goes, they only threw Jared Goff in there because they had to get rid of his contract and they had to pay a first-round pick to get
take
Detroit
that
to take
contract.
him,
Yep.
to take the contract. Well, it turns out it was pretty smart, and I was right.
Kind of a win-win for
At the
everybody.
beginning, it was a win-win.
If Detroit wins this championship,
It was a great trade for everybody.
Joe, I agree in the fact that I respect what they've done. That is a long slog. But if you're a ardent supporter of a team, you can't root for the team that is directly in your line.
While you're
Could you-
alive. But the Packers are done. Their season's over. They can't win this anymore. So I can understand now.
Your team,
pitching your
Jesse,
fandom
okay.
wagon to a new team that you like, that's got a lot of interesting storylines and fun things, and a fan base that has struggled forever. And maybe this is just because I see a lot of Cleveland
and Detroit.
In Detroit
That's fair.
and Buffalo.
Okay.
So
I'm pulling for Buffalo.
Just like the NFL, I want to see Buffalo
I
and
want
Detroit.
Buffalo to win a championship
And by
this
the way,
year.
I don't
Thank
want
you.
Detroit to win the Super Bowl. I
You
just want them
don't?
to get. I want
Nah,
Buffalo.
Now
to win
I'm
the Super
confused.
Bowl.
He backtracked.
And
Now I'm really
you-
confused.
He didn't
Tausch
like
has
he
conveniently
didn't like
left
the
out-
vitriol that he got online, so he's backed away, which is
right,
fine.
because I've always
So you
been
just
afraid
want
of
him
the
to win
vitriol
one more
online.
game? Like
He just want
you want him in the Super Bowl to lose?
I want him in the
Get
Super Bowl. That's
so,
a good,
Joe, you're telling
yeah.
me you're on a good Browns team and you win a couple.
When was that?
I
Oh,
know.
sorry.
I'm just trying to be nice.
Oh, thank you.
And then Pittsburgh is a nice little upstart, and they come back. They hadn't won the division. You're gonna pull, and you're gonna pull for Pittsburgh.
Now, Pittsburgh, to me, the rivalry Cleveland and Pittsburgh have is like
Bears,
Chicago.
Packers. Okay.
Yeah,
Green
it's
Bay.
very different.
It's different. There's a hate there. There's like a long history of we don't like each
Yep.
other, fights in the stands.
River battles.
Pittsburgh
Different-
fans, Cleveland fans, they have hated each other forever.
Okay.
And I think a more analogous
That's the right
situation.
word. Really well done.
Think about it for a second.
You really crushed
It's been a
that.
while since I've been in school. Would be Cincinnati, because when Cincinnati was in that Super Bowl against the Rams,
You were pulling
I was
for 'em.
pulling for Cincinnati. I like Joe Burrow. I was cheering for Cincinnati.
Okay.
And but once they win one, it's over. Like
Yeah,
the valve has gotten shut off. I don't care
changed-
about you anymore. I want to beat
It's just
your ass.
one.
I
Just
changed after the Cubs and how I was like, oh, they've been so long suffering, and now they're insufferable, and
Well,
I don't
yeah,
want
they
to see
get
that
smug
for
and,
Detroit.
you get
I don't.
high on your own success.
It would be like the Pittsburgh Pirates going to the playoffs if you're a Brewers
Paul
fan.
Skenes.
Like, exactly. And you like your guy in the Pirates there. Like, they're the lovable losers who have been down in the doormat for so long.
That's right.
And now they have a chance to eclipse it and get up. And then Tausch has conveniently left out my strongest argument for this whole situation, which
convenient.
is the further the
Smart.
Lions
It's an
go,
inconvenient truth.
the further the Lions go, the more chance there is they're breaking up that band. Aaron Glenn and Ben John, they're not going to come back and say we got unfinished
fair
business next year. Break it. Now that the Packers are out, let the Lions get to the Super Bowl, get them their one, get to say they were there more recently than the Vikings and Bears, which is hilarious.
Packers.
And then get them out.
Yeah,
Make
we
them
just
reset,
fundamentally
never get
disagree.
back.
I don't. There's a lot of what Joe is saying resonates with me, but the fact that they have beaten us the last three and they are our number one rival right now, they are. And it sounds crazy because they've stunk for so long, but they are the team that has won the division the last 2 years. They have a good core in place that they're going to be good. Their coach is fantastic. There's a lot of things. If you're a Lions fan, you're excited. Yeah, I know I butchered the clock, even though I thought I had crushed it. Now, we just wait a second. I want to make sure. Are we doing a 2-minute break after this? I want to make sure.
That is correct.
All right. Well, Joe is going to fill in, and he's no sleeper, but he is going to give us a read for Steinhoffels.
That's right, because this is the last weekend to save big during the winter sale at Steinhoffels. Upgrade your home and your winter travel. Get a free Toomey backpack or tote when you spend $1,999, or get the Toomey Voyageur duffel when you spend $2,999 or more. And make your dream room more affordable when you use Steinhoffel 18-month 0% financing. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com.
What a pro. Nothing sleepy about that, Reed. And he crushed it, and he threw confetti up in the air like a champion. Well done, Joe. That was a Hall of Fame read by the Hall of Fame beef in Joe Thomas. We are going to talk Badgers.
Yellow Jacket.
This whole deal is the college football landscape, and I imagine Joe might be rooting for Ohio State now because they've been so long suffering too, like the Lions.
When have they been long suffering?
You just don't understand.
I
this
don't
argument.
understand. We will understand in 2 minutes when we come back from break.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
This is Monte Ball.
Monte steps to the right, dashes, reaches, touchdown.
You listen to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by Tuesday Night Hoops on Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania. Every Tuesday night, catch the best boys and girls basketball games in the area right here on 100.5 ESPN. Live video streaming on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst met with the media yesterday at Lambeau Field, recapping the Packers season at his season-ending press conference. Talked extensively about urgency to win a championship next season. Plenty to catch up on from ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky. That's over at ESPNWisconsin.com. Jason Wilde not hosting Wilde and Tausch today, but he is scheduled to appear about 10 minutes from right now with Mark Tauscher and Pro Football Hall of Famer and cousin sub of the day, Joe Thomas, coming up next on 100.5 ESPN. Basketball, the Milwaukee Bucks in action at Fiserv Forum tonight, hosting the Toronto Raptors. Tip time is set for 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 after an expanded 2.5-hour edition of Jim, Matt, and Molly here on 100.5 ESPN. College basketball, 7th-ranked Marquette hosts Xavier Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. 24th-ranked Wisconsin on the road at 2 visiting USC.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
O'clock hour here on Wilde and Tausch. Did you take? I see on the text, Joe gives you a music selection. Are we going to get that, or is it going to wait? Where are we at, Jesse?
If a Pro Football Hall of Famer puts in a music request, I will honor it.
All right. How about when a Packer Hall of Famer asks for a couple of movie clips? Are we going to get those?
Probably not.
Depends how he asks for it.
And I asked nicely for something yesterday.
It depends
on
if
Bob
I understand
Uecker.
in full what we're actually trying to do with the movie
I'm convinced
clip,
now what Jesse does is like, I can't find that. I'm like, well, it's literally everywhere on the internet.
Did we get some Bob Uecker Major League quotes
Yes!
from yesterday?
Oh, we did a bunch.
Oh, my favorite sports movie.
I think the Major League favorite sports movie. So I had a good little banter with my brothers back on a text string yesterday about movie montage scenes where there's music playing, and obviously Major League when they go on that run and it didn't. Do we have that, Jesse?
I haven't proofed
That's
it.
shocking.
I haven't proofed it. When did you want me to do that exactly?
Do you know
when
the owner and they're pulling? I told
him
him 3 hours ago.
Okay,
but
right,
when they're pulling the little things off every win and they get to the point where great montage, right? Nothing is going to beat Rocky IV though, as far as movie montage scenes that frickin' rules.
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen the Rocky movies.
All right, that's all for us. Jason,
I grew up very
how
sheltered.
on earth have you not watched any of the Rockies?
I've seen very few movies. This is like a reoccurring conversation among family that was not growing up in my household. When we watched Mr. Rogers and then Packers, and that was like the extent of the TV watching that we did as a kid.
Mr. Rogers and the Packers. Well, a lot of things are starting to make a lot of sense. All right.
That's why he's so wholesome.
All right, Joe,
Very
let's dig in because we don't have access to you as much as we'd love. The Badgers, pretty disappointing season.
Yeah.
Take us in kind of I know you're over in Germany for a big chunk, but looking back at the season and moving forward, give us your overall picture of what you saw.
College football is so goofy right now that I think all fan bases are going through this period of readjusting their expectations. I mean, just think about last weekend in the semifinals of the college football playoffs. They were discussing multiple of those coaches. If they lost, their fan bases were ready to get out the pitchforks and fire them. I don't think teams or fan bases fully understand right now the parity that NIL and the transfer portal has brought to college football.
The SEC is not dominating quite like it is when everybody can pay players.
That's right. All of a sudden, hey, we're allowed to pay. Well, we have some money up in the Big Ten, too, that we can throw into our players.
What is it? It means more? Well, money means more, and that's kind of leveled that playing field a little bit.
But I think gone are the days where you're going to win 10 games if you're a good coach at a good university because you don't have the soft schedule at the beginning of your schedule anymore. And then there's not your powerhouse teams that are able to stack talent, because if you're a 4 or 5 star and you're not starting or getting the role you thought, you're just going to go somewhere else. And so because the player movement has allowed for much more even player talent distribution across all the major schools, it's going to be much more like the NFL, where a little over 500 is a good season. And now that's not for me to say, like, for Badger fans, we should accept 500 and missing a bowl. But I'm just saying that, like, for us to expect 10 or 11 wins every single season like we used to with, hey, we got a good season, we had a good coach, like, because we're able to put together a roster that's here for a little while, we're able to develop these guys, and we're playing patsies and, you know, the weak sisters of the poor here for 3 games at the beginning of the season, that you just load up on these fluffy wins at the beginning of the season, and now it's easy to get to 10 wins when you beat up on a crappy Purdue, a crappy
Peoria.
Northwestern, you know, a crappy Illinois. Like, everybody's pretty good right now. So with that rant off my chest, I think they obviously need to figure out the quarterback position, which it's such a challenge in today's college football because you get a guy for a year.
Yep.
Right? But I think they also do need to go back to a little bit more of the old school Wisconsin football, where it's a little bit more of pro style, ground and pound, because that is the one player that we can get and develop is linemen. And so lean on those guys. We can get running backs. And I think that is what can take you from a 500 team and win a couple more games because of the style of play. And I think they have the right coach in place to be able to implement the tough discipline style that Alvey had, that Paul Christ had, that Coach Bielema had for all those years. I think that's something that you can implement, and I think Fickle wants to implement. And so why not lean into that style of offense if that's the style of player that you're trying to develop?
So you're not going to be one of the alumni that tweets out as a tough Iowa game is unfolding that this thing is headed in a bad place.
So that's the other problem, is now that we have social media, everyone has an opportunity to get more likes and more followers when they say outrageous things in moments when they know the spotlight's going to be on them. And I'm not saying that you don't feel that way, but as a fan, if you don't have a voice, you say those things all the time because it makes you feel better. It's your stress relief to yell at the TV, to tell your brother how much your team stinks. You got to fire everybody. But when you have a big platform and a voice, you have a little more responsibility because the fan base is looking to you for direction on how they should feel about things. And it's easy to be like, blow it up, we're screwed, you know? But it's also not maybe the most realistic or the most responsible thing when you're in that seat and you have that respect and that platform, because it's like being on TV. It's like having a microphone in your face, just like we are today when you're tweeting out things about your alma mater or your team that you love.
And I think the thing we have to kind of get our head wrapped around is every year this isn't going to be like the old days where you're going to see freshmen go into sophomores. Every year is completely different. It's unlimited free agency. We've seen that on the defensive side of the ball already with what Wisconsin's done. You're almost overhauling the entire group.
Yeah, every year.
Every year. Indiana just went from being in the basement to the college football playoff. Every year is going to be different. It is just a different way that these programs have to go about their business. And maybe in the past it wouldn't have suited Wisconsin, but Wisconsin, everybody has to adjust and alter how they're building their roster.
And I think, how do you make a difference, right? And I think that's the question we have to ask in this era of every year it's basically an entirely new team. We can't develop players and hold on to them the way we used to. That was always the Wisconsin difference, right?
I don't even know how much I would recruit high school seniors anymore. I really don't know how many guys I want because you have to pay to get them here. And if they get really good, Ohio State or somebody's going to say, oh, we'll give you this.
That's a good point.
You're starting to look at what like the South Dakotas and those FCS schools, hey, they're 20, 21. It's you'd rather have a 21-year-old than an 18 or 19. There's still that growth, and that's another kind of part to the equation as far as trying to figure out how you can build the best roster.
Yeah, I think for a coaching staff in college football, important to not complain about the circumstances because you don't control them right now.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yep. And you got to figure out how do we make the most of it. And I think that's a great point. Like from a strategy standpoint, how do we make a difference and have improvement or have a better strategy than the rest of the teams in college football? It's, hey, maybe we don't recruit high school kids quite as much. But I think the second part is having stability in your coaching roster, like figuring out these are our guys, these are who we want to be. Since you can't have stability on your roster with your players, if you have that stability in your coaching staff, I think that can make a difference because you have an opportunity to sort of set a direction, build a culture, and then the guys that come in are going to have to assimilate to that culture that you've built rather than having a program where, hey, if like in the NFL, oh, we didn't make the playoffs, fire the coach, start over again. I think that sets you back. And so, maybe it's twofold. Maybe, hey, don't really recruit high school guys all that much. Just worry all about transfer portal and then just have a little bit more patience with your coaching staff than everybody else.
Yeah, it is a challenging landscape, and Wisconsin is trying to navigate through it. But I'm telling you, every year, this idea of these legendary programs, they're getting poached too. And it just levels the playing field, as you said it, and all kinds of opportunities there. Jesse, I know there's a lot of stuff going on out in California and ESPN and our station. We're trying to help our cause.
Yep, if you're able, please help people affected by the California wildfires of 2025. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. That's redcross.org/ESPN. Anything you can help is able, and that's really appreciated by everybody involved there.
Jason Wilde is gonna
scheduled to appear.
Do we have that confirmed? If he doesn't, we have also our prize picks of the week that we're going to get to. But Jason Wilde on his own show going to join us next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I just want to win a national championship.
The College Football Playoff National Championship, presented by AT&T. Coverage begins Monday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison wants you to start the year behind the wheel of a brand new ride in our Road to the Motherlode giveaway. On Friday, January 31st, there are lots of opportunities for you to strike gold. 3 winners will be chosen every half hour from 6 p.m. until 9:30, with each taking home a cash prize between $500 and $2,500. Then at 10 o'clock, one grand prize winner will receive our largest single prize ever, a $50,000 vehicle certificate. And it's only at
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare, with on-site repair. so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Is your computer so slow you can hardly use it? Does it have blue screens, malware, viruses, reboots, hardware crashes? Sound familiar? Computers will have problems, and when they do, you need the computer experts at Madison Computer Works. Every day we help home users and businesses keep their computers and networks running smoothly. For solutions to your computer problems, call the pros at 231-8000, and we'll turn this into this. Madison Computer Works. Computers that work for you.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control.
Get the working blues and let the good times roll.
Must be getting close to the weekend. Joe's singing. Joe Thomas, our cousin sub of the day for Jason J. Wilde. And I think Jason is going to join us while we're waiting. Prize Picks, my favorite way to have fun. And Joe, you know what? I turn my sports opinions into real cash with Prize Picks, the best place to get over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. They offer MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. The best way, again, to win real money. You think Lamar Jackson can have a big game? See what his projections are. Derrick Henry, less or more, 96.5 rushing yards. I'm going to go less. I think it's going to be a Lamar Jackson run game. Again, turn those sports opinions into real cash. And download the app. Use code WI. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, Prize Picks app. Use code WI. $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Well, I don't know if Jason is there. Jesse's back there jostling around on the phone, so we will see. But, Joe, Commanders-Lions game, we talked a little bit about the fandomness of it. You had a little rest. How do you what do you think there? Do you think Detroit's just too good on offense, even with all the injuries on defense, they'll be able to overcome and slow down Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, I think there's a it factor right now about the Lions season that they just believe in themselves. They just believe that this is their year, and they're hitting their stride at the right time. I think the victory against Minnesota at the end of the season was just such a confidence builder for that team that, you know, we went through our adversity already, but it just made us stronger. And I think when you have that mentality in the playoffs, that means a lot for your ability to prepare the way you would like you're going to go win a championship. And then even in the game when you reach some adversity, there's a feeling on that sideline that, hey, it doesn't matter what's happened. We know we got the dogs to be able to go out and do it and to make this touchdown run here to get whatever we need to be able to score. And I think that feel is something that is hard to quantify, but the Detroit Lions definitely have it right now, and it'll be really tough for the Commanders to be able to overcome that momentum that Detroit has built.
Well, there you have it. It'd be hard pressed. It'd be a big upset. I don't know what the line is on that game, but I know that Jason Wilde, he loves this show. He does such a great job on all of our platforms. He's got his own digital show with Alex Strofe. He writes for 15 different papers. He's the father of the year. He's the husband of the year. Nothing is annoying about him. And he joins us now. Jason, how are you this morning?
Well, I'm getting divorced, so it's been a rough day.
Okay. Not sure how to transition out of that. Okay, good stuff.
Paula hates that I take days off and then I work anyway. So she's driving, and I'm talking to you two. By the way, great to be replaced for a day by a fellow Hall of Famer. Right? The Pro Football Hall of Famer, Greendale Martin Luther Hall of Honor, same thing, basically. So, Joe, thanks for taking my spot, and thanks for having me.
So he's 40,000 leagues under the sea, reporting live from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Thanks for calling in today. We appreciate that.
So, Jason, Joe and I were just kind of talking about our pet peeves of our wives. Since Paul is there and you guys seems to be battling anyways, what is her biggest pet peeve of you?
Oh, that's a pretty long list. I'm not
just
sure.
Give us one. We're actually on the clock and really managing the clock well today, so just give us one.
I'm sorry, my watch must be off. 11:29 is what I have. I think the work thing is a big one, and knowing me, I'm big J journalism, so it's really important to me to do my job, and so I've got some stories to write during the drive.
Yeah.
Obviously about Jeff Hafley interviewing today with the Jets and change with their defensive line coach after we were told that, hey, no, the defensive line's doing great. They've had to rush different ways, but no, they're doing great. Okay, then why'd you fire Jason Repovich would be my question. So,
that's a good question.
So I got a lot of work to do today, but I wanted to make sure that I irritated her by joining my show.
All right, well, we love that. We love that you're irritating your wife. I'm sure you're going to stop at Quick Trips on the way and get a bunch of those great Quick Trip treats and coffee and everything else. But Joe and I were discussing this. Game breakers, game changers that the Green Bay Packers have. Who are your game breakers or your game changers that are on this roster as we sit here today?
Well, I think the two guys that they signed in free agency clearly are at the top of the list. Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney. Now, I do think that one of Jeff Hafley's challenges for next year will be to figure out ways to get Xavier McKinney even more involved defensively. I think when he has Evan Williams, I think he feels like he has more flexibility with Xavier, and so I think you'll see X do some more things that he maybe didn't do in year one, because as we saw after he picked off, 7 passes in the first 8 or 9 games, that teams avoided him. And while there's value in that, you'd like to see him be able to be more of a playmaker because he's got it in him. Josh Jacobs, obviously, on the other side, we all agree on that. I think Tucker Kraft is almost there. I think there were some games where, as much as we all love Tucker Kraft on this show, he wasn't quite as productive to be put in that category. I feel the same way about Christian Watson. It's got to be more consistent. And I know some of it was, he had a game where he didn't even get a target because Malik Willis started. But there were some games when Jordan Love was under center or in the shotgun, and he didn't see the ball very much either. So I think those are kind of the 4 that spring to mind. I think if you look at what in limited snaps and then with his increased snaps, what Edger and Cooper did, I think he will be a field tilter or a game changer next year because he was that a lot of times during the course of the season intermittently.
So, Willie, we were talking earlier on our show here, Mark and I's show here, that if you want to win a Super Bowl, TNT, yes,
TT.
The TNT.
TNT.
It's dynamite.
Dynamite.
That's got a little something. That's pretty good.
All right. We were talking earlier on TNT that if you want to win a Super Bowl, there's 4 game-changing positions that you really got to have great players at. Quarterback, pass catcher, pass rusher, and then cornerback. And the first 2 guys on the list that everybody agrees are game changers, some of the best at their position in the league, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, are running back and free safety, which are 2 of the least valuable positions on a football field.
Just ask Joe Shane, yeah.
They're the, unbiased, they're the positions that get paid the least because they feel like, generally speaking, unless your name is Troy Polamalu or Barry Sanders, you don't single-handedly have an ability to take over a game where the other side of the football has to game plan to take you out, and that will be their highest priority. And so for the Packers, if their 2 best players, their 2 game changers are at safety and running back, what do they need to do this offseason, or how do they need to change their philosophy to be able to figure out how we get game changers, guys that the other team has to game plan around at those 4 most important positions?
That is a great – it's amazing how good – I mean, you're just one of those annoying people that is good at absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So
you haven't seen me golf.
Well, okay. Fair. But Tausch,
he's going to break 200 at La Capelle, I can tell you that. Joe's breaking 200.
I would have bet I don't have $1 million, but if I did, I would have bet that was coming out of your mouth.
Well, if you sold more hangers, you probably would.
Oh, yeah. Joe's
another bat.
Looking for hangers.
Oh, snap.
He's going to get some more hangers.
I could use some.
I got I got some nice ones from IKEA that we're not using anymore.
Oh, beautiful. All right, thank you. Looking.
I first of all, great question, and nice and long, which is how I prefer my question.
We're trying to filibuster a little bit here.
I think what's interesting is when you say that, and we look at the impact those two guys had on this team. Your is well taken, but at the same time, like, they won a game where Josh Jacobs basically was the offense, right? I mean, they beat Indianapolis, who I know was not a great team, but everybody in the building knew that he was getting the football because they did not trust a backup quarterback and Malik Willis, who had been there for like 2.5 weeks, to be able to run the offense, and they still won. So he certainly flew in the face of that, and I would say Saquon Barkley, who Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, agrees with you. Neither Xavier McKinney nor Saquon Barkley are game changers. In terms of what they need to do this offseason, like, one of the questions that I had for Goody yesterday was, he's been with the Packers almost as long as I've covered the team, so he knows the number one wide receiver lineage, right, of Sterling Sharp to Robert Brooks to Antonio Freeman to Donald Driver to Greg Jennings to Jordy Nelson to Devontae Adams. And now we're 3 years in, and there hasn't been one of those guys. And so does he believe someone can rise up from the current group, or does he need to pursue someone like a T. Higgins, who he drafted Jordan Love instead of in 2020? I don't know what he's got planned. I know he's got the cap space to do it, but they also paid a guy to be one of those game changers at one of the positions you mentioned, and Rashawn Gary hasn't been that guy, right? And they paid another guy to be that guy, and he's not going to be on the team anymore in a few weeks, and that's Jair Alexander. So what I would say is that you're right about which positions carry the most weight and the most importance, and if those guys get paid, and then to this point you're wrong on them, that makes things awfully difficult for you. So I don't know. Are they gonna cut ties with Jair and go try and spend on another corner that they view as kind of a Xavier McKinney, coming off a rookie contract, who could be really good, and they're willing to pay top dollar for him? I don't know, but you're right. They don't have enough of those guys. And to me, and I'll defer to the guy that's in Canton, but to me, the idea of, this is a good football team. The difference between these other teams that are still alive in the playoffs and the Packers is that they have those game changers, and the Packers clearly do not.
What did you make of Goody's urgency? It was a great question, long, that you asked, but
thank you.
What did you think when you heard Goody's response on there needs to be more urgency than what we've seen?
I thought about you, partner. I did, because you said last year when they were playing the 49ers, you kept talking. I kept saying how, God, they're not only are they a year early, they're more than that. They're supposed to be rebuilding, and here they are playing in a divisional playoff game. And oh, by the way, had them on the ropes for 3 quarters. And you kept hammering home how it doesn't matter that they're ahead of schedule or this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. Now you're here, you got to take advantage of it. And so, that's the wisdom that you two have from each playing more than a decade in the league. And I thought what Goody's point was maybe a message to younger players. And I don't think he's going to bring up Dan Marino, because none of those guys would know who Dan Marino is unless they watched
Isotonic
Ace
Gloves.
Ventura. Well, that
Great
too.
movie.
But I think what his message was is, hey, you can't keep saying, well, next year, we're young. We're just, the window's just opening. Like he said, he doesn't believe in
Joe,
windows.
what did Alvy always say when you say stuff like that?
Nobody cares.
Yep. Continue, Jason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was what he was trying to say. And look, I wasn't trying to be a dink about it, but like it was a lot of puppy dogs and ice cream and seashells and balloons about how much young talent they have and how much Jordan Love grew. And it just felt like at no point did anyone say, hey, wait a minute. You lost 6 games to the 3 teams that had better records than you. You finished 11-6, and you lost in the first round of the playoffs. Like, if you're going to say that there's a standard around here, you didn't meet it. And I didn't have the expectations that you'd be in an NFC Championship game this year, but that doesn't matter. Like, And I think that's why Goody answered the way he did, is that once they got in, they did not elevate their game. And it was almost as if they're like, well, we still got a lot in front of us, so we got a really bright future with all this young talent. And I think what he wanted to make sure he was saying, not just to us, but to the locker room, is, hey, you don't know what next year is not guaranteed. Like, we could have a bunch of injuries, and you guys in my locker room would think you're going to be fine. It's not going to happen.
I tell you, the things you do for me.
Oh, Joey Bagels in the house. We got Joey Bagels in the house. That's what you're missing today. All right, so before we let you go, Jason, can you kind of just say, what do you think Goody, on the top of his list, with kind of going through this urgency, what can he do to take it to that next? What do you think his number one objective is, why this team didn't get it done? What do you think he needs?
Well, I think there's obviously, as is always the case, there's a bunch of things, right? It's not just one thing. If it was just one thing, they would have been closer than they were. But I think he is going to ratchet up the internal expectations on his quarterback, right? He has to play better. He's not going to say that to us publicly, but I'm fairly confident privately that there's going to be we're going to have a new quarterbacks coach. Dan Orlovsky's going to bring out the best in you.
Dio.
You really have to make a jump in year 3. So that's one. I think, 2, they have to figure out what they're going to do in terms of a pass rusher and a guy that, going back to Joe's
not going to help us get Myles Garrett. I tried, and he said he's not going to recruit Myles Garrett over. He thinks that Myles should stay in Cleveland and finish his career there. I tried.
Yeah, well, it'd be great for Myles to follow in his footsteps and not have much postseason opportunity or success. So that would work out great for him.
See, this is what he does, man. He's a shrapnel guy. Jason loves throwing shrapnel. Jason, I know you got to go. Last thing. What do you think, Goody?
How done with the last question? Are you? This is why
Joey Bagels got me all wrapped. Hey, we got big, fresh, beautiful bagels in here, bagel sandwiches. I want you to finish your last point, but I also, before we let you go, I do want you to say, how do you think Goody views Jordan Love's season?
I think he views it as he didn't make the jump that he expected and wanted him to. And he's, again, not going to say that to us. And he pointed out the injuries and what have you. But, again, he's part of that urgency. And he talked a lot about how much it was almost like he was trying to dial back what LaFleur had said about, hey, don't necessarily, try to make him change his leadership style. He said, I think he manages our locker room great, but he's part of that urgency. And so there's that expectation. And just to finish my prior thought, I think not only is it Love and not only is it pass rusher, but do they believe that they have enough pieces with Carrington Valentine, who could become the latest in the Mark Tauscher 7th-round pick, Donald Driver pantheon of great 7th-round picks? Do they think that Keyshawn Nixon is a CB1 like Keyshawn Nixon thinks Keyshawn Nixon is? Those are all questions that he has to determine, but he has the financial wherewithal to go out and get help at literally any position on the roster. So if he sees an opportunity, and especially one where even for premium dollars he can get a really good player, I think he's going to do it. And I don't know if that's Max Crosby. From what I'm reading on the internet, they're going to get Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Devontae Adams, and T. Higgins, which would be a hell of a free agent class.
Be a good crew. Yeah, that'll help. There's some game changers, if you will. Jason, have a great trip. I don't know what you're up to. You got a long weekend. Enjoy yourself.
Gymnastics meet in Eau Claire.
Oh, okay. Well, make sure.
I'm competing on the pommel horse.
Make sure you get that triple sow cow and get ready to hit that.
Well, someday I'm going to have those bagels that Joe always brings. I'm very jealous.
They smell.
We don't have a store in Green Bay just yet.
They smell phenomenal.
Someday.
Well, I do go to the Mission Barbecue regularly.
Well, thank you for your service.
Enjoy your Gotham Bagels cousin sub of the day, and I'll catch up with you guys next week.
All right, buddy. Have a great weekend. Jason Wilde joining his own show. I don't even know. I was on the clock, and then we get Wilde, and we got these long answers, and I think we have 2 segments left, so we got to go. And we don't have any more reads, so let's get to break. We'll be back.
You're great at this.
In which part?
All of it.
What do you mean?
You're running a tight ship and a great ship.
All right, we'll get that tight ship back here. Wilde and Tausch. We'll be back in a bit.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school. Yay! It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison wants you to start the year behind the wheel of a brand new ride in our Road to the Mother Lode giveaway. On Friday, January 31st, there are lots of opportunities for you to strike gold. 3 winners will be chosen every half hour from 6 p.m. until 9:30, with each taking home a cash prize between $500 and $2,500. Then at 10 o'clock, one grand prize winner will receive our largest single prize ever, a $50,000 vehicle certificate. And it's only at
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Staying on Wisconsin sports never stops on ESPN Madison.
Brett Bielema, I think, is very obsessed with Wisconsin, even though he left the Badgers, and I think he really wants to stick it to Fickle, particularly.
Get your weekly Badgers conversations year-round with the Jump Around podcast.
He is a hothead. He is a look-at-me guy. He did it during the bowl game. I think that will burn Illinois in the end, and I think Illinois will burn out.
The Jump Around podcast with Jim Rutledge, streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Hey, it's Bobby Portis, and I love playing basketball in Milwaukee. When I drive down the lane, I move fast and make sudden moves to drive to the hoop and score. But when I'm behind the wheel in the driving lane, I control my drive. I don't speed or make sudden movements. Speeding and reckless driving are the leading causes of traffic injuries and deaths in Wisconsin. Do what I do. Control your drive. Don't speed. Don't be reckless. Zero in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Wisconsin DOT.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
We're on the Packers.
The lesson to be learned is you can't be a 7 seed.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
They got to be better, and if they're not, then next year will be a disappointment.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
are. Start it back up. This is 3 hours of hosting. What a grind. But you know what makes it easier? My guy Joey B dropping off this Hall of Fame. Get in here, Joey. You old rascal. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on? How you doing?
Watch that. I know we don't want any cussing, but I'm going to be cussing when I take a bite. Tell us a little piece about what we have and you brought in for our whole team here at ESPN Madison.
So Joe Thomas brought his Hall of Fame beef from his farm. We made chorizo.
Is it weird that he wanted to be called?
Pork.
That was his nickname today, his Hall of Fame beef.
Hall of Fame
nothing
beef.
even about the actual sandwich.
Well, we took the Hall of Fame beef and we mixed it together with some chorizo seasoning, and we made chorizo, and we made like a taco on a bagel, which is called the luchador, which is the fighter. And Joe has his camo on, so it's all relevant right now. And we're right around the corner at Gotham Bagels, and these guys were hungry, and guess what?
What a guy!
We're taking care of business here.
You are, and you look fantastic. By the way, you've been working out with Doc Kelm. I think Joe shows up once in a while. Doc said
he brings us the sheet, and it's very strict, and we follow it when he's not here. And,
yep.
And then he's there. If he's not traveling, he shows up.
How often is Doc there? Because it feels like I haven't seen him as much this year, but rumor has it he's getting a little soft. Is that a fair
everybody
assessment?
at various points are getting soft.
Amen to that.
We had a very tough basketball pickup game today.
That's what I heard.
I was 0 for 5 with like 3 unforced errors.
I bet you had a lot of fouls, though.
I had a couple of fouls, but we don't talk about those.
We won't
Friendly
talk
game.
about those. We are going to talk about this fantastic. I took a couple of bites already. Great meat, great sandwich at Gotham Bagels. Joey, we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you.
You went with everything bagel. Tell us why.
You want the true answer?
You can give me the.
Can we handle the truth? I
the
guess
truth
is the question.
Is that I did not give my staff the bagel recommendation, and that's what they chose.
Okay, what is your recommendation?
Since there's so much going on in the sandwich, I'd want you to do it on like a plain or a sesame.
Okay.
So
All
now
right.
you have a lot going on, but you guys got to tell me whether it's too much or not.
All
Give
right,
me some honest feedback.
We will give you that feedback. We also, I butchered the clock, just like this was butchered. I butchered the clock today. We have to get to Feelgood Friday. Joey, we really appreciate you stopping in, bringing some great food. We'll be back. Wilde and Tausch to close up this week's episode with Feelgood Friday coming up, presented by Home and Lindsay Paints.
We're on the Packers.
This wasn't good enough against the really good teams in this league.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
It's something that we'll focus on this offseason.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here, and even though it's the first weekend in a long time without any local football to enjoy, I'm still feeling good on this Feel Good Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints. But does your next paint project call for the bold colors of your favorite team, like green and gold or cardinal and white? For whatever your next project calls for, do what my family did and trust Home and Lindsay's pro painters to get the job done right. Choosing the pros is the way to go. All you have to do to get connected with them is stop into any of Home and Lindsay's Madison area locations. Ask, and they'll help find the pro painters best suited for what you need. And remember, Home and Lindsay is the one paint you can trust to withstand the challenges of Wisconsin's weather year-round. Home and Lindsay, great paint, great people. And stick around for Feel Good Friday coming up to close out today's show, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994. Find the Great Dane nearest you and check out the menu at greatdanepub.com. Milestone for Coach. Greg Gard collecting his 200th career win Tuesday in a 70-68 dub over Ohio State. The Badger head coach on why it takes more than just one person to climb that mountain. Audio courtesy Badger Athletics.
I've had terrific players, terrific coaches with me. I got a phenomenal staff right now, support system. You divide this up, and it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people, a lot of hours that go unseen and unnoticed to have a opportunity to help a program be successful.
Wisconsin travels to USC for a Saturday afternoon showdown.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
I'm John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. We've been at the heart of many magical moments, from engagements to weddings to sweet 16s. It warms my heart to be a part of these moments for 40 years with people I consider family. With the highest standards and an eye for classic beauty, enjoy a warm boutique setting at Goodman's Jewelers, where integrity shines in every gem. At 220 State Street, Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store, Madison, since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Come see what the buzz is all about at Madison Axe, Madison's state-of-the-art entertainment spot. Enjoy 8 lanes of axe throwing, craft beer, interactive games, plus digital target projection and scoring. For even more fun, check out their indoor backyard with 2,000 square feet of shuffleboard, cornhole, yard games, bar table games, and more. Perfect for date night, groups, corporate meetings, or private events. Madison Axe is your destination for all things fun. Throw it, nail it, celebrate. Go to MadisonAxe.com or head to their location on Stoughton Road today.
Monday nights this football season, huddle up for the Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia.
I go to the Ohio State fans. They are so ridiculous. It's not even fair to acknowledge them because they are ridiculous. For some reason, they think they invented football in Ohio. That's why I used to love to kick their ass.
The Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia. Mondays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
You gotta get down on Friday. It's time to finish the week off right. It's Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay.
All right, it has been a heck of a ride, a 3-hour ride. Joe Thomas has been our cousin sub. He's been fantastic, and he brings food with Joey B. And he's just Johnny Entrepreneur. And for our Feel Good Friday, presented by Hallman Lindsay Paints, I want you to just talk a little bit because we also love Mission Barbecue, another food company that you're involved with, and what they do philanthropically.
Yeah, Mission Barbecue has been a leader in giving back, not only in their store with the way we treat veterans, police, military, first responders, firefighters, and how we try to make them feel the way they should, like special guests that everybody wants to take care of and celebrate in our stores. But we also philanthropically like to donate back to all the different military charities like the Special Operations Warrior Fund. The USO is a big one. That was one that was really important to me during my career. Every year I'd buy 10 season tickets and donate them to the USO for service members that were coming back with their family members to be able to enjoy a Browns game. Now, whether they enjoyed the game or not,
well, that's the tricky part. But it's the thought debatable. That counts on Feel Good Friday.
But that's what it is. It's all about trying to give back to the people that serve our great country. And that's why Mission Barbecue got named Mission Barbecue. This is a no-lie story. Bill Krause is the founder. He's from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. He was working for Under Armour, first employee that Under Armour hired outside of the company, hired me as a marketing representative, guru, when I was in college before I came to the NFL. And then after 4 or 5 years, he retired and wanted to open up a barbecue place, going to name it Sloppy Joe's. I said, And then he said, how about Mission Barbecue?
There we go.
Ding, 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 ding. Because our mission is not just serving the greatest barbecue on earth, which we do. It's about giving back and making those first responders, those military, police, firefighters, those people that serve our great country under this flag feel special the way that they deserve, and to give them a place that they can come and swap stories and feel like it's a clubhouse. And I hope we do that, and being able to then take some of the profits that we make and give back and donate to those charities is our mission.
Awesome stuff. We love Mission Barbecue. We love their mission. We love that story. And Joe, we love you. We appreciate you coming in all day today on Wilde and Tausch. Enjoy this, everybody. Football, we only have a couple weekends left, and this is going to be a great weekend of football. Cannot wait to get that. We'll be back on Tuesday.
Yep, no show Monday.
No show on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday to recap all of that. be Jason and I. Thank you all for coming along for the ride. We'll see you next time. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts